Give me a call. What's that, NTR? Peace, peace. My ancestor spirit was good. Kerry Davis, what's happening? Peace, peace. Shout out to everybody that's in here. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, coming in. Can y'all hear me? Is my live good on y'all end? Can y'all hear me good? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Cause it's kind of still loading up on my end. I don't even see nothing for real. So I just want to see if y'all good on y'all end. What's happening, Kim? OGJD, what's happening? Peace, peace. Okay, so it's good on your end? Cool, cool. I just want to make sure that it's straight. Y'all know how TikTok be doing y'all, boy. Okay, you can hear. Cool, cool. Y'all like the live, share the live. As y'all can see what the background is, we about to get into it. Because many people never heard of the little ice age before. I covered it a long time ago. But we'll cover it again. For those who ain't never heard me cover this, or people who ain't never heard about this period, we're gonna get into it. I don't believe the ice age exists. Well, this is a different ice age. This ain't the prehistoric dinosaur ice age that most people will probably think when they see the word ice age. This is a different one. Yeah, this is a different one. Peace, peace, y'all. Like the live, share the live. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, rocking out with me. Y'all know how we get down. Roll it if you got it, if you can, if you at home, or if you got it. What's happening, Jumbo? Peace, peace. I'm gonna like the live, share the live. You know, we're gonna have a good live today. Okay. Unstable connection. This may affect. It's always so-called unstable connection. My 5G jumping and everything. I know when they say unstable connection, TikTok agents had just entered the door. The people in TikTok watching the live, ready to hit the glitch button and everything. That's how I know. Cause my lives ain't never said that so many times. Unstable connection. I done had thousands of lives. For real. I done had thousands of lives on this app. And only this year, not even this year, the past 2 months, my lives start getting that little notification up top, unstable connection. It may affect the viewers. And of course y'all gonna affect the viewers. You don't want nobody in here to get these gems. I already know what it is, TikTok. At this point, I don't even know why y'all hiding. Y'all might as well come in here and sit on down. You might as well come in here and sit on down, right? Here and sit on down. You might as well come in here and sit on down, right? But peace, peace though, man. Y'all like the live, share the live for me. What's happening, Redbone? Peace, peace. Y'all like the live, share the live for me. Let's get some people in here before we get started. As y'all can see what the background topic is, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one, especially for those who ain't never heard of this topic before. All right, especially those who ain't never heard of this topic before. Some people in here before we get started. What's happening, Yanni? Peace, peace, dream seer. What's happening? Alright, I just shared it out. We're gonna let some people get in here. You said it's been a day. Happy Tuesday. Man, who you telling? It's definitely been a day. I'm glad we made it through though. Glad we made it through. What's happening, red line? Peace, peace. Let me get my paper plane together. I'm gonna go ahead and gonna jump on my paper plane. I got that butane in my lighter today. Y'all ain't about to be hearing me flick, flick, flick all live. For real, y'all ain't about to hear me flick, flick, flick no more. I done put that butane in my shit now. Look how easy that just sparked up. Look how easy that just sparked up. Boy, I gotta keep me some butane. Peace, peace. What's happening? We the first Royals. Was good. Peace, peace. Y'all like the live, share the live. Like the live, share the live. We're gonna get started in just a second. We're talking about false slave narratives and Little Ice Age equals big lies. All right. Well, signs are for the conscious mind. All right. I should have put High Learning Book Club on there. I'm gonna do that next time. Next time I make a collage, I'm gonna put High Learning Book Club on there. So we talking about false slave narratives in Little Ice Age, which equals big lies. All right. Y'all like that? Y'all like the title so far? False slave narratives. Little Ice Age equals big lies. How many of y'all ever heard of the Little Ice Age? We're going to start right there. How many people have ever heard of the Little Ice Age? Not the Ice Age with the dinosaurs. I'm talking about the Little Ice Age that started about the 1300s. And they lasted to about 1850s. Peace, peace. What's happening, Abdullah? Hidden gems in the building. The sin was good. Everybody coming in, y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Everybody that's coming in, so I know that the live's straight. He said you inspired me to buy the book. Hey, appreciate that. Hey, Ashay, what's happening? He said, what's happening, L. Jackson? You said you haven't, but you happy to hear about it. We're gonna get started here in just a second. Trying to wait till the viewers get up to at least about 10, 11. So just take this time, roll it if you got it. Welcome to High Learning Book Club. If this is your first time, you know we study high, take the test high, get high scores, right? Right. So roll it if you got it. This is the slogan. High Learning Book Club is the class. Signs are for the conscious mind is your teacher. Shout out to everybody that's in here. Shout out to the OGs, the in-between. Shout out to those who's looking for the information and everything like that. We are talking about false slave narratives and Little Ice Age, which equals Big Lies. The reason why the false slave narratives is up there with the Little Ice Age, because they go hand in hand. Because once you learn about the Little Ice Age, you're going to start questioning the slave narratives. You're going to be like, well, how in the fuck was they doing this when this was happening? Right? But we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Like the lie, share the lie. Can y'all hear me? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Everything good on y'all end? I just got to make sure y'all can hear me and everything good, because TikTok be playing. Okay, we here. Okay, cool. Cool. I just want to make sure, because TikTok definitely be playing with me. A lot of my OGs already know how it go. Appreciate that. He said the images get better and better. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. Those who come in late will fill them in. All right. Those who come in late will fill them in. So let's go ahead and get started. So we talk about Little Ice Age, right? What's happening today? You know what I'm saying? We talking about Little Ice Age. This is the Phantom Timeline. We're going to be talking about that today too, the Phantom Timeline. Here we go. The Little Ice Age overview. The Little Ice Age overview. What's happening, Flex? Peace, child of the soul. What's happening? Shout out to everybody that's coming in, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, rocking out with me. Like the live, share the live. So today, we discussing false slave narratives in the Little Ice Age. So first, we're going to begin with the Little Ice Age. And then we're going to get into the Phantom Timeline so you can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying about all of this. All right, what's happening, Mr. Fresh? So, getting started. All right, what's happening, Mr. Fresh? So, getting started. The Little Ice Age overview. For those who ain't never heard of the Little Ice Age. Right? For those who never heard of the Little Ice Age. For those that don't know what the Little Ice Age is. Buckle up, here we go. So, the Little Ice Age was a period of regional cooling, particularly affecting the northern hemispheres for approximately from the year 1300s to 18. What are you talking about, red line? No, they ain't kick me out. You know how TikTok be doing me. You know. What's happening, Seeker? So, the Little Ice Age was a period of regional cooling, particularly affecting the northern hemisphere. From approximately 1300s to 1850s, right? To the 1850s, it was not a full ice age, but a lot of places got much more colder than they usually would. Okay? So, key features of the Little Ice Age. First, we got to start with the timeline, right? The timeline, it started around the 1300s. The peak of the cooling was 16 to 1700s, right? What's happening, Rashad? Peace. Listen, pay attention to these timelines, right? So, the start was the 1300s. The peak cooling was 16 to 1700s, and it ended around 1850. You said, well, I changed my name? It's still Science for the Conscious Mind. I just, I got 3 profiles, so, I want to change it up for TikTok, kind of revamp on one of my pages. So, Signs and Symbols TV, just something to revamp on. So, so now it ended around 1850s. Okay, so the climate effects of this Little Ice Age, you had colder winters, you had shorter growing seasons, right? Shorter growing seasons, which you should, right there, right? When they say shorter growing seasons, right there, you should be questioning slavery, right? Shorter growing seasons. You should start questioning the slave narrative right there, right? They had glacial expansion in the Alps, right? In the Alps, Scandinavia, Alaska, and the Andes. Freezing of major rivers like the Thames in UK and Seine in France. Increased frequency of famines, you should be questioning the slave trade again. Increased frequencies of famines and crop failures in Europe and parts of Asia, right? How does this impact globally? Okay? How is this a global impact? Well, most prominent in Europe, right? Most prominent in Europe and parts of North America and Asia. Weaker or delayed effects in the southern hemisphere, right? Monsoon failures in Africa and India, and severe droughts in parts of China and the American Southwest. Okay? All right? Severe droughts in parts of China and American Southwest. Again, you should be questioning the slave trade. What do I mean by questioning the slave trade? So we'll know. If there are shorter growing seasons for crops, how is slave picking crops? Okay? Listen. The mainstream history told you the slaves was picking crops and year round, sun up to sundown. And how, Sway? How were they picking up all these crops when there barely was any crops growing in the first place? And it's cold as shit. Another reason why I say start questioning the narrative is when we start hitting severe droughts. Right? What's happening, Lou? Why? Right? When we hit severe droughts. When we hit things like famine. Right? Increased famine. And crop failures. So how are you slaving and picking crops when crops are failing? Huh? How are Europeans able to build these large boats, set to the ocean, enslave thousands of people, build colonies, if they were suffering famine and 60% of Europe passed away from the Black Plague in the 1300s? Remember, Little Ice Age start around 1300s. 60% of Europe passed away because of the Black Plague in the 1300s. Who the fuck is building these ships then? It seemed like people got more shit to worry about than trying to enslave somebody. They got to worry about how the fuck they gonna eat. They got to worry about how the kids gonna eat, survive. They gotta move around. Ain't nobody thinking about slavery. At least I'm not. Are y'all thinking about slavery? Y'all can answer in the comments. You know, the more you guys engage in the comments, the better for the algorithm. TikTok see that this is an engagement live and they will push it. So that's why I be trying to get y'all to engage and ask a lot of questions a lot. All right. Is anybody wondering the same thing I'm wondering about this? Or everything just seemed normal to y'all? Like, man, you know, it's all good, Los. It ain't like that. So you telling me these Europeans going through a Black Plague, 60% of the population being wiped out, and they had enough time to build boats, enslave people, build colonies, and take over? How are they fragile and dominant at the same time inside this story? Inside of this story, they are fragile and dominant? Come on, bro. Something ain't adding up, right? All right. Roll it if you got it. You always wondered that too, OG? All right. Peep game. Just keep going. Because it's going to be a lot more. So, the possible causes. For one, how did this little ice age start? There was thousands of volcanic activity that was happening around this time, right? Y'all remember when... Okay, so... when we get into the Phantom Timeline, we're going to get into it, right? Because the Phantom Timeline comes up next because it's all connected, right? But if I told you that deluge story happened more recent Then they told you. Would y'all believe me? Right? You know, the ancient stories of the deluge. If I told you that that deluge happened a lot more recent, would you believe me? Pimping the pen, facts. How did they have time to do all that, man? I ain't look. Okay. So peep game, right? So first, in the beginning of the 1300s, you have volcanic activity, right? Major eruptions release aerosol that block the sunlight. Right? Solar minima, periods of low solar activity, such as the Maunder Minium of 1645 and 1715. Now we're going to stop right there, right? Right? We're going to stop right there. Why am I stopping right there? Because the solar minima, when they say periods of low solar activity, there's a book called The Little Ice Age that y'all can get, right? I think you got to go to Google Books, Amazon. This is one of the books that you got to buy. So when you get The Little Ice Age, there's a chapter in there that tells you there was a whole year with no sunlight. There was a whole year with no summer. Now, what happens to vegetation if it doesn't get sunlight for 3 months? Because there's a lot of people in here that has a garden and plants and stuff, right? What happens to vegetation if it don't get no sunlight for at least 3 months? Yep, the year of no sun, facts, Rashad. What happens to vegetation? A year with no sun. The plants will wither. There will be no crops, right? So again, you should be asking yourself, how was you picking cotton and crops as a slave if there is no crops to pick? Right? You should ask yourself, how are slaves picking crops when there is no crops to pick? Think Alaska, right? Would slavery work in Alaska? Hell no. What the hell you gonna have the slaves doing? Ice fishing? Building igloos and shit? Hell no, you wouldn't have slaves in Alaska for real. Even though they did, but come on, man. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck we doing in Alaska? In enslaving, right? So there was a year with no sun on top of the low solar activity. The ocean, listen, here come the ocean. The ocean circulation changes. The ocean circulation had changed. Shifts in the ocean currents may have altered heat distribution. So the ocean gyrus changed. Oh, that plays a big part in the story. He said the ocean circulation or the ocean gyrus changed. They shifted. So if they changed and shifted, is people really coming to America or people going from America? If the ocean gyrus that carry ships and boats changed, and they telling you the story, oh yeah, Europe and Africa, you know, they jumped in the ocean, the gyrus brought them to America. It changed. So that means if that part of the story is true, that means before then, you was coming from America, hopping in the waters, and it took you to Europe and Africa, which you can get the book called American Discovery of Europe, and it tells you that American Indians followed sea turtles and ended up in Europe and in Africa. But that's a whole nother lie for another day, right? Right? He said, yeah, they pay you to live in Alaska. Right? So just flip the page real quick. Just flip the page. Because we just going over a little overview right now. All right? So, human land, right? Human land used reforestation after indigenous depopulation in the Americas may have reduced atmospheric carbon. Ooh, They said what? They said reforestation after indigenous populations in the Americas may have reduced atmospheric carbon, meaning that the more carbon beings, who are indigenous people, the more indigenous people that they unalived, the more it reduced the atmospheric carbon, because we emit carbon. We are carbon ether beings. So the more that they unalived us, the more it actually fucked with the atmosphere, which is where they came to the conclusion, we can't unalive these people. It's going to fuck up the ecosystem too. We can brainwash them, but that's another part of the story later. All right, what's that, D Brown? That's how they was able to flip the maps so easily. The Earth did it first. Exactly, Lou. Bingo. There you go. There you go, Lou. That's why they was so easy to flip the maps, because the Earth already flipped. Right? So historical consequences. Bingo again, Big C. That's exactly when the giants start disappearing. The deluge happened way more sooner than you think. See, history and historians, they want you to think that shit happened like 12,000 years ago and shit like that. 11,500. Hell nah. For one, we got to remember that they added 1,000 years to the timeline. We ain't even in the right century that you think you in. We ain't even in the 21st century. I know that's going to blow a lot of people's heads with 21st century. We ain't even in the 21st century. Hell no. Right now, man, we probably like we probably like 17th century. For real, we probably like 16th, 17th century right now. To be honest, and that's just guessing. If we was to be accurate, we probably back in 1100 AD. But we going to get there though. We going to get there. So, historical consequences of the Little Ice Age. Agriculture. It was shorter growing seasons led to crop failures. What's happening? Ni hao. We're going to go ahead and get this guy up out of here. Because you got the wrong live. You want the live where people going to entertain you and bring you to the panel and fuck off with you. I ain't got time to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to those who got the patience to bring Mr. Bruce Lee to the panel and fuck off with him. That man ain't even welcome in my life. I don't fuck with agents. But anyways, shorter facts. I tell people all the time, this is 1700s. Hey, look, shorter growing seasons led to crop failures. Famines occurred, including the Great Famine of 1315 and 1317. That's the Great Famine that unalived a lot more Europeans. Now, I'm going to be all the way 100 with y'all. When you do the math, look, the Black Plague took between 30 to 60% of Europe's population. That's the Black Plague. Then you also got the Great Famine that hit at the same time, which took another 30% of their population. Bro, that's damn near 80% of Europe gone. With 80% of Europe gone, how did they enslave everybody? Did YT people really enslave motherfuckers? Think about it. Do the numbers and think logically. Okay, Black Plague, rats, boom, 30 to 60 gone, like that. The Great Famine, which is tied to the Little Ice Age, right? The Great Famine took another quarter of the population, boom. And then they start barbecuing each other because they didn't have no crops. And they was going through starvation. They start chowing down on each other. So boom, another bit of the population gone. Y'all following me? Is it making sense? I don't want to lose nobody. Anybody got questions, just feel free to ask. Right? But when you start mathing, boy, that slave narrative become false and false. When you start doing the numbers, that slave narrative becomes more falser and falser. All right. What's that, Pooch? Y'all can hear me? The line's still good? We ain't even get that deep yet. Crops is tripping. Europeans is passing away. But they want you to think that 12 million so-called black people was enslaved by these very Europeans who were suffering malnutrition, famine, disease. Seemed like these folks had a bigger problem to worry about than slavery. Again, if I'm going through all this, the last thing I'm thinking about is enslaving the motherfucker. I'm trying to figure out where my next meal gonna come from. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna keep these other motherfuckers off my ass who want to chew on my leg. On top of that, boy, I got kids to protect and feed. Come on, man. Ain't nobody worried about trying to put somebody in chains. Hell yeah, it was a wicked time. Ain't nobody think about when do we have time to enslave people, let alone 12 million. If we a few biscuits and bread away from being, you feel me? The little ice age. It's a reason why they don't teach you this. All right? It's a reason why they don't teach you. So, the famine occurred include the great famines of 1315 and 1317. Society, European witch hunts increased during poor harvest. Migrations and conflicts grew due to food scarcity, lapse due to climates. Okay? Culture. Cold winters inspired snowy village scenes in Dutch arts. So they showed you the little ice age, but you ain't know what you was looking at. You was like, oh, this influence migrations and societal collapse may have consequences, as we just read. Y'all can hear me still? Yeah, you know how that lie do. That's why I changed my background to let it breathe for a second. It's good on everybody else end. We good to continue? All right. Y'all let me know when it's good. Peace, peace. Okay, it's good. If it's good on your end, just press 1 for me, so I know to keep going. Okay. Okay, cool. So now we got to dive into the Phantom timeline. How many of y'all know what the Phantom Timeline is? How many of y'all know what the Phantom Timeline? Because the reason why you don't know about these events of the Little Ice Age is because of the Phantom Timeline. Oh, y'all try to get my cone to hit. Cone acting like he don't want to hit. All right, there we go. Facts. There we go. What's happening, Hidden Gems? So, the Phantom Timeline. You may not be in the year that you think you in. We might not be in the year 2025. The reason why is because of the Phantom Timeline hypothesis. First, you got to start with the Gregorian calendar, right? The Gregorian calendar is a colonial fabrication. All right? The Gregorian calendar is a colonial fabrication. Who created it? It was introduced by Pope Gregory in 1582. Right when they kicked out the Moors and the Sephardics, right? Who had accurate calendars. Kicked them out. Created the Gregorian calendar, which is a colonial fabrication, right? So it was introduced by Pope Gregory in 1582 to quote unquote fix the Julian calendar. The excuse, right? The excuse was a 10-day misalignment of the Julian calendar, adding years. But the correction removed 13 days. Right? So when they so-called fix the calendar, they remove 13 days. There go that magical number 13, right? They removed 13 days instead. Because maybe the Julian calendar wasn't wrong at all. Maybe the Julian calendar wasn't wrong at all. All right? So instead of fixing it, they subtract 13 days, right? So, but the correction, it removed 10 days, right? It removed 13 days, and these days were manipulated, okay? The real agenda behind creating the Gregorian calendar, which is a colonial fabrication, the real agenda was to centralize the papal control over time, to disrupt indigenous and Eastern solar lunar calendars, right? To bury historical records tied to the American Indian empires, the Moors, and children of Mu. Okay? So number 2, the Phantom Timeline gap. Right? Because a lot of people, okay, well, if the timeline fucked up, well, there got to be inconsistencies and gaps. There is. We talk about the gaps all the time. And trust us, we get called wabo, pretendians, and conspiracies and everything because we talk about the gap. All right? So the Phantom Time Gap from 614 to 911 CE. Hubert Illig's core claim. The Holy Roman Empire, right? Remember, don't confuse the Holy Roman Empire with the Roman Empire. Those are two different empires. One is Germanic in nature. The other one is, Europe or over here in nature. So the Holy Roman Empire, specifically Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and Constantine, fabricated 297 years of European history. Charlemagne may have been a fictional composite. No archaeological evidence supports the events of this inserted period, meaning they haven't found no archaeological evidence that support that the 600s and 911s even happened. What's that NB for all? Peace, peace. Did y'all catch that? There's no evidence of the 600s to 911 CE even happening. There's no evidence. And trust me, I went down the rabbit hole. There's no evidence. Right? There's no evidence. Because this is the time where you be asking these questions. Well, where's the biblical figures at? These people found dinosaurs and shit, but they ain't find Jesus. They ain't find Moses' grave. They ain't find Job, John, Matthew. They ain't find nobody grave. Nobody got descendants. Nothing. Just nothing. All you got is stories that was written by the Roman Empire. That's all you got. It's stories that was written by the Roman Empire. You have no archaeological evidence that a lot of this shit happened. All right. So let's keep going. So the evidence of this is there's no technological progression between 600 and 900 CE. There's no technological progression between these times. Buildings and infrastructures supposedly built in this area or era wasn't even built. And neither did they exist. Buildings and infrastructures supposedly built in this era neither don't exist or they are dated incorrectly or they mirror early Roman architecture and not ancient. Right? So that means when you be looking at some of this Roman shit, they be like, oh man, look at this ancient Roman shit. That ain't ancient. They lied to you about the dates. That shit is actually more modern than a motherfucker. That's why it's everywhere. That's why we got them same structures over here. All right. So let's keep going, right? Let's keep going. So multiple astronomical, my bad, my tongue almost fucked up. Multiple astronomical events don't match historical descriptions. If we use the current calendar, right? If we use the current calendar, historical descriptions and astrology events, they don't line up either. So the result is we may be living in what mainstream calls the 11th or 12th century and not the 21st century. My bad, y'all. I told y'all wrong earlier. We might be living in the 11th and 12th century right now and not the 21st century. I can see that. I can see that. The only reason why I can see that is because ain't nobody found no slave in their family tree. Not that I know of. I ain't seen nobody found no slave in their family tree. Why? Because it hasn't happened yet. A lot of that shit was created. If they faked 1,000 years from 600, if they faked 1,000 years, that means a lot of colonial history is fake from the 1400s to the 1600s. That's 300 years of fake colonial history. I already read to y'all a book that tells y'all Amerigo Vespucci never even existed. Real talk. I got the book still and I read it to y'all. I ain't gonna do it this live because we on a different line, but y'all tap in the future lives, you might see me break it out. But there's a whole book that tell you Amerigo Vespucci never even existed. But mainstream history will tell you this nigga was real. But the people from that time was like, hell no, there was no dude named Amerigo. What? His name was Albert. You talking about Albert? Alberto? So he ain't never existed. So if he ain't never existed, how many more explorers never even existed? I'm trying to tell y'all, Columbus never existed either. I don't care how many times you change that nigga's skin complexion and try to make him as black as you want to. That nigga never existed. He never existed. Because one clue is that his ships, the 3 ships that they said that Columbus and his people came over here, they was actually named after these Romans, these popes. These popes that I just named, Pope Gregory, Sylvester, and Constantine, his ships was named after their daughters. It's 3 ships, 3 daughters, 1 for each pope. So there's a theory that says that the Columbus story is allegory for something, metaphorically, for something. Maybe it wasn't him for real, but it was the actual Roman church and their missionaries that came over here. Because you got more stories of Jesuits than Columbus, if you think about it. Think about it. Think about slavery. You hear more about Jesuits than you hear about Columbus. You hear more about the missionaries than you hear about any other explorer in history. That's because a lot of those explorers never even existed. The missionaries came here, of course. Jehovah's Witnesses be everywhere. So Pete gang, nobody found the slave in a family tree that I heard of or seen. The slave narrative don't add up. The little ice age damn near debunks the slave narrative. And Amerigo Vespucci ain't real. And 1,000 years was fabricated. And we might be inside the 11th and 12th century and not in the 21st. Woo, we gonna let it breathe. That's a lot to unpack. Y'all good? Y'all straight? Y'all following me? I don't want to lose nobody. Anybody got questions, feel free to ask. Welcome to High Learning Book Club. Daughters of the Both Sides was at there. Before I was good. KB was at there. OGJD, you said you good? Everybody else good? We tracking? Long as we tracking. Long as we tracking. So, you see how good? That's a lot. I know. So now, from the fake Gregorian calendar, which is a colonial fabrication, to the phantom timeline gap, you have to start thinking now the destruction of the indigenous time grid. Because remember, indigenous people, not just Americans, but indigenous cultures already was keeping time, right? The Mayans with their time, the sundial in the calendar, the Aztecs, the Olmecs, the Levanta, the Chaldeans, the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, all these ancient or so-called, indigenous people they already had their calendar and time. So in order for your plan to work, to rewrite time, you got to destroy other pre-existing time grids and documentation. Shalom, shalom. So the destruction of indigenous time grids. The ancient American system, civilizations like the Olmecs, the Mayans, and mound builders use advanced astrological and cosmic calendars far older than Rome or Greece. The Mayan calendar is circles within circles, like an infinite loop. Facts. Reincarnation. The lunar cycle. All right. They said the Olmecs, Mayans, and mound builders, which are all the same people, use advanced astrological and cosmic calendars far older than Rome and Greece. So that means that they was keeping track way before the Gregorian calendar. So I definitely would destroy their shit. All right. So the Maya long count calculates cycles over 5,000 years, not linear time, but cosmic time. The so-called end of 2012 wasn't an end, just the close of a Bakhtin or a great age, signaling Earth's reset. 2012, Earth's reset. We in 2025, so-called, right? But what happened though, right? What happened? The Spanish and the Vatican forces burned codexes, burned calendar systems. The Mayans, Toltec, and the Algonquin solar alignments were deemed pagan and devilish. Were deemed devilish. Keeping time was devilish. All right, keeping time was devilish. So while we may not be in the year 2025, time was reset by colonial decree. Time was reset by colonial decree. Time was reset by colonial decree, starting with Anno Domini, or AD, a calendar based on the misdated birth of Christ. The misdated birth of Christ. The real 0 point of the world may be rooted in the pre-cataclysmic empire of America and not Rome. The real 0 point of the world may be rooted in the pre-cataclysmic American empires, not Rome. Whew, we're going to let it breathe for a second. Roll it if you got it. Boy, that's deep right there. It's a reason why they covering up American history. It's a reason why they covering up American history. America's the real old world. Before they fabricated time, everybody knew America was the real old world. After they fabricated time, America became the new world. And you start getting these fictional characters created. Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, etc., etc. But don't nobody remember these niggas. What's happening, Mother Nurture? Peace, peace. Welcome to class. Real talk. I'm going to say that again. Before they added 1,000 years, the world knew America was the real old world. After they changed the time and added 1,000 years, America became the new world and everything here was destroyed. And then they told you that indigenous people didn't write nothing down. When we know they wrote everything down. There's hieroglyphics, there's codexes, there's statues, there's written language. We know that they wrote everything down. Right? All right. So now, the flood and the cataclysm timeline was covered up. What's happening, Dallas? Peace, peace. Right? The flood and cataclysm timeline was covered up. What's happening, Gamble? The flood and the cataclysm timeline was covered up. The true timeline of Amaru, America, Atlantis, Mu, whatever you want to call America, because Mu, Atlantis, Amaru, it all means America. I done broke that down in plenty lives, showed y'all books how it's all the same thing. People misinterpret what Plato says. Plato, and I got the book of him saying this, Plato says, if you're standing upright in the Americas today, you are in Atlantis, meaning Atlantis never sunk. Atlantis is America. America is Amaru. You still in the very land that they told you don't exist. All right, come on, man. Stop playing with me. Right? So, all right. So, the children of Mu, or indigenous Americans, or whatever label helps you get through this live, oral histories points to a global flood around 11,500 years ago, right? This aligns with the Younger Dryas impact event, right? And it is recorded in every major ancient culture. Every major ancient culture tells you about this great flood, this Dryas, right? All right. In ancient culture, after the cataclysm, advanced civilizations in the Americas, North Africa, and Southeast Asia rebuilt and recalibrated time. Who recalibrated time? America, North Africa, and Southeast Asia rebuilt and recalibrated time. What the colonizers did was suppress the knowledge of pre-Diluvian civilizations, reframe ancient Egypt, Greece, and Sumer as the beginning of the story. They used the church to reset all timekeeping. They used the church to reset all timekeeping to 0 AD, erasing 20,000 years of indigenous sovereignty. That's longer than the fucking Native Americans saying how long they've been in America. So who is these people? I'm going to say that again. They say Native Americans got here like 12,000, 10,000 years ago. This indigenous sovereignty is predate them. So who is these people? They said they used the church to reset all timekeeping to 0 AD. What's that in the star checker? Thereby erasing a total of 20,000 years. 20,000 years erased of indigenous history of America. 20,000. Well, I wouldn't say really erased. They got all the information over there. You know, they keep shit inside the basements or whatever. But to us, it's erased. All right? So now, after you then destroyed civilizations, created a fabricated Gregorian calendar, erased time and added time, now you can get into recycled historical characters in scripted dynasties, right? Because you gotta write your dynasty inside the story. He said, I need that 20 back, right? Nigga need that dub, right? So now you can start writing yourself inside of history, right? It's scripted dynasties. You can start recycling historical characters, right? Creating Jesus, right? All right. Peep game. So Anatoly Fomenko's work in the book called History, Fiction or Science, Fomenko shows that many empires, kings, and battles were repetitions of older stories under new names. I showed y'all that too. Right? Remember I was doing the Flavius Josephus breakdown and we was building Jesus? Y'all remember that live? I don't know, how long some of y'all been with me, but for the OGs and at least the in-betweens, y'all should kind of remember that live, right? When we were building Jesus, right? And they took stories of older people who actually existed and from recorded history that they quote unquote destroyed. They took those attributes and stories and they start building Jesus, right? Like Jesus' crucifixion is actually the Eleazar story, who was an old Sephardic Jew who was being persecuted by the Romans because he didn't want to convert over to Christianity. So they crucified him. His name was Eleazar. And the crazy thing is, that story is inside the same Bible that they put Jesus in. So in one part of the Bible, you'll read about, the pastor will never read this story to you. But in one part of the Bible, before Jesus' crucifixion, you will read about Eleazar being crucified, right? When you get to the New Testament, you're talking about Jesus, and it's the same story. So this is what they mean by recycled historical characters in scripted dynasties. They went to the character creation menu in the game and made themselves the main character. Yeah, they made themselves the victor and the victim in the story. Like real shit. That's really how they did it. They made themselves the victor and the victim inside the same story. And everybody else ain't, y'all just NPCs. So what's that in this Swarthy? Peace. So let's keep going though. So, which is a dope book. I got this book. We'll read it in future lives. History and Fiction and Science. Fomenko shows that many empires, kings, and battles were repetitions of older stories, but under new names. For an example, even though I gave you Jesus, right? For an example, Alexander the Great is a recycled script of Caesar. So when they tell you about Alexander the Great, they ain't doing nothing but recycling Julius Caesar's story to you, just under a new name, to make you think different people, different time, different dynasties. And it's crazy because they taught us Alexander the Great and Caesar in school more than they taught us about goddamn African history. But we Africans. I'm talking about every day for 365 days, niggas was talking about Caesar, Alexander the Great, back to Caesar, jump into U.S. history, 1776, Independence Day, 4th of July, Abraham Lincoln, jump back to Roman Greek shit, but you're not talking about nothing more than you'll probably talk about Troy, right? You probably start talking about Beowulf a little bit. Then you jump back to U.S. history. Then you start talking about goddamn civil rights and shit. And then they bounce your ass back to Egyptian history and show you this white man inside a pharaoh hat talking about, now we're going to talk about ancient Egypt, y'all. You're going to be like, hold on, wait. The fuck, this nigga look like you? Because you know your teacher was YT too. Which I find crazy that I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia and Augusta, Georgia, which is predominantly black, but somehow our teachers is always white. And the teachers don't never live inside of the fucking city. But anyways, that's a whole different life for another day. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother life for a different day. A lot of y'all teachers was agents, man. Believe it or not. That's why you ain't never seen them outside of school. Now some of y'all about to be sitting in my live hitting your paper plane like, damn, hold on, bro. I ain't never seen my teacher outside of school before. Hell nah, you ain't never seen a nigga at a gas station. You ain't never seen a motherfucker at goddamn Winn-Dixie, Food Line, Kroger, fucking Walmart. You ain't never seen them just on the humble when you left school. You be like, damn, nigga, do you live in this motherfucker? I'm being for real. What's happening 216? I be it for real. And then the crazy thing is, because I'm getting on the teacher's ass right now and how crazy the system is. So now just think about your teacher. How you know your teacher was a straight A student? Because you know, when you go to school to be a teacher, you ain't got to be no straight A student. Some of these teachers made all C's and D's all the way through college and got their diploma and turn around and teaching your ass. What? Oh shit. That's diabolical. And you getting in trouble by the teacher who made C's and D's all the way through college to come and teach you, and you failing the test because of them teaching you, and you get in trouble. Boy, that shit diabolical. But anyways, just keep going though. The elementary school was right outside the project. Now facts. Hey, that's diabolical, man. Let's get back into it, though. So, for an example, Alexander the Great is a recycled script of Julius Caesar. Now, when you go back and start comparing Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great, you'll see that these are the same people. All right? Now, another example would be the Holy Roman Empire, which is a duplicate of the Byzantine chronology. Okay? A third example, ancient Rome was not ancient. It was medieval, with Latin repurposed later. And that's where people get shit confused at. Right? That's where people get stuff confused at. There is no such thing as ancient Rome. You have medieval Rome. Medieval is not ancient. Medieval is in the middle to being modern. There's no such thing as ancient Rome. It never existed. The Rome over here in America is older than the Rome over there. I'm gonna leave that gem right there while I spark my paper plane. Yeah, y'all heard me right. The Rome over here is older than the Rome over there. Let it marinate. And it ain't rocket science. Just let it marinate. Yup, Maryland, Rome. Maryland, Rome. Let it marinate. Oh, and didn't they find didn't one of the Indians had like a Roman style helmet that they found with feathers on it over here too? They sure did. Okay. They found Roman style helmets over here that predate that shit over there. Why you think all the statues over there look brand spanking new? Because they are brand spanking new. You know what old ancient statues look like. You see them all the time. You be staring at Olmec statues. You be staring at these Moor statues. Motherfucker be old. Got holes in them. Fucking hair done fell off and shit. But then when you go to Rome, over there, Man, all that shit just fresh marble, shining, sparkling like a motherfucker just carved it yesterday. You be like, y'all ain't taking care of that shit like that, bro. Hell no. Y'all ain't. Nah, bro. If this was some real ancient shit, no matter how much you took care of it, the time would still show. They just built that shit. In the movies, the helmets got that broom mohawk. Exactly. Whole time it was supposed to be feathers, right? And it was a symbolic when they had the mohawk, because Romans don't wear mohawks. So where the hell did they get the idea to put a mohawk on their helmet from? You know what I'm saying? So peak game, right? That's because Rome was already over here. There was no Columbus. But it was these people, Byzantine monks. So mainstream history, right? Mainstream history is secular, not linear. You're reading the same script with different actors in a costume. Right? Listen what they tell you about mainstream history. Let me slow it down. Yup. Chickasaw was known as Sparta. Exactly. Listen. Mainstream history. You are reading the same script with different actors in costumes. It's kind of like a Tyler Perry movie. Right? This is real shit. Mainstream history is like a Tyler Perry movie. The same script. Different actors and costumes. Nah, for real. I'm telling you. And we'll be all day breaking this shit down. We'll be on here all day breaking it down. I gave you Jesus. We just told you about Alexander the Great. Ain't nobody but Caesar. Right? You know how I always taught y'all that a lot of these gods are the same gods with different names? Hint, hint. Same thing with the people. Same thing with the history. This is an even bigger gem to let you know who you are. Because if it's the same script, then what role is Black Americans in this script? There's a Sparta, New Jersey. There's a Sparta, Georgia. We got a Rome, Georgia. We got a Sparta, Georgia. Yeah. We got a lot of Greek shit in Georgia. For real, we got a lot of Greek shit in Georgia. I'm not even playing with you. Exactly, the main characters, right? The main characters, huh? So you're reading the same script with different characters, different actors and costumes. Same thing with the Bible. There's 2 Genesis stories that people don't know about. That's why I don't really get into the biblicals with people, because, man, look, I blow people's mind from the shit that I know, because I done went down that rabbit hole of religion. There's 2 Genesis stories. There's 2 Adams. There's 2 Eves. There's 2 Cains. There's 2 Enochs. There's 2 of every fucking thing inside this book. Except for Jesus. Unless you want to talk about Hosea in the Old Testament, who is actually so-called Jesus, right? Hosea had his name changed to Yahshua. Right? So you get Yahshua or Hosea and you combine him with Eleazar and you sprinkle a little Moses on top of it, you got Jesus. Real shit, you got Jesus. Now when you go back and read Jesus' story, you're gonna see the Moses, you're gonna see the Hosea, Yahshua, you're gonna see the Eleazar, and you'll see the Flavius Josephus if you know what you're looking at. All right? Peak game. What's happening, sissy? Said duality, right? Tomahawk is the same as a battle axe, and our elders saying he's battling axe in church for years. Yeah, America, the real old world. Like the Chinese person wrote. So here's a bonus gem, right? Here's a bonus gem. Even DNA time is corrupted. Here's a bonus. Here's a bonus inside the Phantom Timeline, right? We may not be in the year 2025. Here's a bonus gem for you. All right? Even DNA time is corrupted. Most modern genetics like Ancestry DNA and 23andMe use timeline anchors from post-colonial Europe, right? Most modern genetics like Ancestry DNA and 23andMe use timeline anchors from post-colonial Europe. That means your so-called ancestry is dated according to the fabricated timeline. Your ancestry is dated according to the fabricated timeline. Same go for your census records. Right? Real genetic migration tells a story of deep American presence by the so-called Negroid or Moorish peoples long before Columbus or even the so-called pharaohs. So long before pharaohs and Columbus, niggas was in America. Oh, man. Man. Right? Shout out to the Phantom Timeline, right? Niggas was in America. That's another reason why they don't teach you that so-called black people was in America, because it throws a wrench in their timeline. Because if you tell people that so-called black people were always in America, now you got to start asking, well, how long was they here? It'll throw a wrench in the out of Africa theory, because we've been here for millions of years. And if we've been here for millions of years, what out of Africa story? I could tell you where we as Americans immigrated into Africa. And I don't need no monkey included in this story. Right? What's that, Dallas? Peace. What's that, Prolific? A long time no see. Right? So, conclusion. The year 2025, right? The year 2025 is a lie. It's a lie. Shit, you might not even be 35 years old. Who knows what time it is? All you know is you feel it because they've been siphoning your energy. That's the only reason why you feel old, is because they've been ciphering your energy this whole time and stressing you the fuck out. If we was in our natural state, we would be energetic like kids. I promise you. Because we are nothing but energy. Alright? Peep game. So, claim versus truth. So, we're in 2025 based on colonial time grid, not natural or cosmic timelines. Rome or Greece are ancient. Their timelines were copied and inflated. AD and BC is universal. It's based on a false Messiah date and used to determine indigenous systems. Indigenous timekeeping, older and more accurate in cosmic in design. We lost 1,000 plus years, whether by design or distortion. The calendar is off. This document presents a perspective grounded in alternative historical research, indigenous wisdom, and critical examination of mainstream chronologies. Peace. What's happening, King Wash? Right, 1,000 years. If we lost 1,000 years, how do you know for sure that slavery in colonial times actually happened? Because, I mean, just be real, y'all. We ain't really have no solid evidence to prove that this shit happened. Besides what? Fake ass voyage log databases that they done created. The old programming that we still fighting to detox from our minds. But when we all did our census records and genealogy, nigga, what slavery? We all did our census records, hopefully. What slavery, bro? Even your census records tell you there wasn't no slave. What slavery? I haven't found a nigga that found a motherfucker from Africa or a slave yet. No boats, no pictures. Most of Columbus' journals are fabricated by the Roman Catholic Church because they created Columbus and Amerigo Vespucci, and they created a lot of these explorers. But hold on, bro. But these explorers saying that the Indians was black, though. Those ain't explorers telling you that the real indigenous people is us. That's Rome telling you that. This is Rome telling you in the disguise of explorers that they created. Because they had to create a story to fabricate the lie. But in reality, these niggas been over here in America. Rome been here. They ain't never left. All that shit over there is a facade, a distraction. I'm keeping it all the way $1.10 with you. What slavery? What slavery? Right, Swarthy. Where are the boats? They said that slavery so-called ended in like 1840s or some shit like that. The camera was already invented in black and white and color, and niggas had microfilms. We ain't got not a picture, not a microfilm of not a slave coming off a motherfucking boat or in chains, or not even a motherfucker getting whipped. But we got hella pictures on GoogleImages.com of us swinging from trees like strange fruit, though. We got hella pictures of that, so we know they ain't got no problem with showing shit like that. You would think that slavery would have been the height of fucking museum pictures. Oh, right here is the boat Matilda coming in. Look at this microfilm slowly as it docks, and look who's coming off. We ain't got that shit. You ain't even got a real microfilm of fucking Abraham Lincoln. Ooh, I don't want to get into the presidents that didn't exist either. Oh, y'all ain't know? Oh man, you want Stephen Phelps. The Abraham Lincoln picture, that nigga that's on your $5 bill, his name is Stephen Phelps, and I got his census record. He's an actor who played Abraham Lincoln in movies and plays in the 1800s, huh? I'm gonna say that again. The dude on your $5 bill, his name is Stephen Phelps. He's an actor who plays Abraham Lincoln in the same time frame Abraham Lincoln's supposed to been existed. Oh, and check this shit out. His census record, guess who his roommate is? Motherfucking Abe Lincoln, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. Man, people on this app is debating history that never even existed. You can't tell me that is the greatest distraction that agents done came up with. To get a lot of these great-minded people arguing over shit that never even happened. Anything to keep them distracted from unifying and building the economics and breaking this matrix, nigga, we gonna do it. And it's working. Bro, there's hella great minds on both sides. Underneath the pan goofy bullshit, I can see when there's a great mind by how a motherfucker talk and how they break down shit. If you take that bullshit out of your repertoire and put some real shit in it, you'll be a hell of a teacher. But there's a lot of programming that has to be dismantled. The crazier thing, the most diabolical thing, is how people want to dismantle YT supremacy, but still run into YT supremacy papers to explain how YT supremacy exists. But when you know real history, you understand there's no such thing as YT supremacy. They created that shit in 1898. YT supremacy is a new concept. It's a new thing. That's when they took over. 1898. So-called 1898. Remember, 1,000 years is added, right? This is why they never invented shit. They always found it. Well, when was this building was founded in 1830? This structure here, you know, founded. They always finding some shit. Come on, bruh. I'm probably one of the few people on this app that's gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't believe in no colonial period. I read the books to teach y'all some shit because there is gems in it. Right? Because that's signs up for the conscious mind. That's what my whole platform is about. It's gems inside of the lies. The best lies are the ones that got the truth and the lies mixed in. You got to really know how to read between this shit. You got to understand allegories, metaphors, etymology, physiology, psyops. You got to understand everything. This shit more than just being able to read a paragraph and be like, nigga, look, the Indians was dark skinned. It's deeper than that, nigga. It's deeper than that. These niggas fabricated 1,000 years. Plus, they still lying. In 2025, nigga, they still lying. Every day, nigga, they still lying right now. In 1980, you became an African. Bro, I'm telling you, they still lying today on the timeline, bro. In 1980, you became African all of a sudden. Inside mid-timeline, you became African. Whole time you been American. Yeah, nigga, American. Yeah, my nigga, you know, America. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Detroit, Mississippi. Yeah. Wooty woo woo. 1880 come. Yeah, nigga, we African. Hold on, what? Nigga, just last year you just said you was from Detroit. Yeah, but you know, I was lost, my brother. I didn't know, you know, salami, bacon, eggs, and ham, my nigga. You be like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? The nigga came back as a robot. This nigga, he before he went inside the house, he was American and proud. Went inside the house, watched Roots, came outside. Now this nigga Pan-African, pro-black, and fucking African and shit. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck happened to this nigga, bro? Niggas become goddamn brainwashed. Well, that's how that shit happened. I'm trying to tell you how the psyop work. Niggas became African out of the blue. So now everything we do is African. Everything we do, everything we create, everything we touch, Africans get the credit for it. Tell me a bigger tether who didn't help these niggas change the timeline. Because it seems to me Africans is too comfortable with kicking it with these niggas. Nah, for real. This how you know the African history is fabricated. Because if these niggas enslaved Africans in Africa for 1,500 years, why is niggas so comfortable instead of rebellious? Them niggas tried to enslave us for 30 years, nigga, and we tore shit up. They tried, they man, bro, what? You would think Africans would be more rebellious. A lot of them still believe in white Jesus. A lot of them love the Chinaman. A lot of them move straight to Europe when they leave Africa. America be the second stop. The first stop be Europe. A lot of them go there because they got cousins there. Oh, you got cousins there. How long y'all been cousins? Oh, shit, you know, my family been in Europe for like 1700s. Keep going, huh? Let me ask you. They Catholics or Christians? How did you know? Because y'all help these niggas do this. Because y'all about stealing identity too. You just don't know how to steal ours. Because you need a certain soul to mimic a black American. And that's only some shit that you get by living with us. Because our soul is contagious. You be around us long enough, you'll get a little bit of soul in you. But anyways, that's a whole different, you know what I'm saying, lie. We ain't gonna take it there right now. Exactly. Some of them are the European. Facts. Some of them niggas is the European. Yeah. That's why the Pope kissing the man, look, man, right there in your face. Messy Jesse named us like he was our daddy and shit. Nah, for real, Swarthy. I ain't never met Jesse Jackson a day in my life. And somehow this nigga can speak for me. No, for real, bro. We need to, bro. I've never met none of these people a day in my life, but somehow these niggas can speak for me. I ain't never seen Obama. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. This nigga was in Louisville. I still ain't see him. I ain't never met Jesse, Al Sharpton. I'm from Atlanta, nigga. I ain't never seen T.I. He be around though, but he don't be around when I used to be around. Bro, I'm just saying, how is all of these people being appointed to speak for us though? When none of these people actually spoke to us to figure out what the fuck we need. Or what do we want? Who is these people? These niggas is Europeans. I'm telling you the truth. These are Negro pens. Jesse Jackson ain't no Indian. Fuck all that. You know this nigga Cherokee. He got his ID. Nah, that nigga a $5 Indian. Because melanated Europeans pay $5 too to get on the dolls rolls. It ain't just no white shit. Y'all gotta... One of the biggest things that we as black people, black folk, colored folk, us, nickels, one of the most things that we gotta do, we gotta stop being racist. And we gotta stop being colorist. The reason why I say that, because motherfuckers think white person all the fucking time. And the whole time the Negro pen is doing this shit to you. Right up under your nose. But you so black power, black only, black unity, that it's so easy to infiltrate you. If I was a CIA agent of blackness, it would be so easy to infiltrate you niggas today. Why? Because all I gotta do is walk up to you and be like, yeah, nigga, George Floyd, nigga, black power. And y'all be like, yeah, my brother, fuck these niggas. And I'm already inside the clique. I ain't even gotta do shit. That's all I gotta do. If I was an agent that was a black person, that's how easy it is to infiltrate the black community. All I gotta do is just feed off of y'all emotions and catch you when you turned up. And I can just join in. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, nigga, fuck them. What's up, man? What's going on? Yeah, you heard what the police did. Oh, yeah, nigga, fuck them. I'm on y'all side, man. That's what I'm talking about, my brother. Can I get your number? Yeah, bro, we gonna keep doing this. Woo. Now, this nigga done slid in on the low to you. He wearing the wires. He trying to see what everybody doing. You telling nigga all your secret just because this nigga dark skinned. Oh, man, he cool, man. He one of the brothers, man. You know, you dap him up, he dap you up. Yeah, nigga soul brother. Whole time he an agent. The melanated agents is the most dangerous ones. Because you don't know who they are. They act like you. They walk like you. They talk like you. They dance like you. They've been studying you. But they are not you. You ever been around other melanated people and something inside you be like, bro, I need to get the fuck away from this dude. Pay attention to that. Real shit. Pay attention to that. You get that gut feeling when you around your people, and you get that gut feeling when you're not around your people. Even when you around some of the most wildest people in your community, you still don't feel bothered for real. Ah, that's just Ray, man. That nigga do that shit all the time, bro. That nigga a fool, man. I grew up with him. Ah, that's just man in them, man. Them there, yeah, them boy wild, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, lock your door and shit, cause them there wheels take your shit. But you know, that's how he is with our own. But me personally, I done been around other melanated people. Ain't nothing behind their eyes. The fuck wrong with this nigga? Barbaric. Soulless. A person that can just fuck over his own people. No conscience. Not there. That's because he ain't your people. In order to be an agent, you got to be a soulless, conscienceless person. And in order to be part of that government, you have to be soulless. You got to be soulless. Why you think no black police ever stood up? That's because they not your people. Some of them black police is Nigerians. Some of them black police is goddamn black Europeans. Some of them black police is black essays, nigga. Like, just because a nigga skin dark don't mean he ain't your people. A lot of us be like, well, it's black police. Why they ain't standing up for us? That's because they not your people, nigga. They don't like you either. That's why they be ready to whoop your ass too. Shit, some of them do whoop your ass. I done seen footage. I'm like, damn. That nigga beating the shit out of there, boy. You worse than the white cop. Ice Cube told you. Ice Cube told you. Did he not? Man, shout out to everybody that's in here, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, rocking out with me, man. What's happening, Tyrell? It's crazy because I had a roommate named Ray, was wild as fuck, but that was my soul brother. Yeah, bruh. Man, we grew up in these neighborhoods full of these people, bro. You know what I'm saying? Something happened with the Panthers. Facts, Jesse, a black Anglo-Saxon. I believe it. That nigga, if he, like, when it come to Jesse, that he probably more European than Indian, because some folks are like that, like how a lot of us is more Indian with just a tiny admixture of European or whatever, you know, whether it's Irish or whatever the case may be. He's probably more European with a one drop of Indian, because there's a lot of motherfuckers like that too. We got to think both ways about this stuff, right? Peace, Leander. All right, you gotta think both ways about this shit, though. All right, so continue. So you may not be in the year 2025. All right. So where we going with it now? So now we're gonna wrap it around, and we're gonna be talking about white slavery, right? Because this whole live is about false timelines, false African slavery narratives and shit like that, which means we got to talk about white slavery, because a lot of people don't know about it. I ain't talking about indentured servants. I'm talking about white slavery. Okay, so this is what we about to get into. So before we get into it, we gonna let it breathe. Y'all roll it if you got it. High Learning Book Club, shout out to those who grabbed the book. I appreciate y'all. Somebody just grabbed it. Appreciate you for grabbing the book. I hope you enjoy it. The Eclipses of America. You definitely gonna love it. You know. So roll it if y'all got it. I'm about to get my little tobacco on real quick. Crack this stove. Get some oxygen. I was in here hotboxing the whole time. All right, y'all good though? Y'all straight? Y'all ain't got no questions or anything? So fabricated timelines. So another reason why they would fabricate timelines is to hide the fact that they were slaves. I mean, I would. Wouldn't you? I would hide the fact that I was the slave in the story, actually. This is why you can't find the slave in your family tree, because they was the slave in the story. And if they was really to go for reparations, there'll be a lot of niggas that'll be mad. Hold on, wait, what the fuck, Los, bro? The white people getting reparations? Hey, I'm sorry they lied to you about history, bro. I told you, do your genealogy, bro. A lot of us niggas didn't come from slaves, bro. We was owners. A lot of these plantations that's burning down that niggas is cheering for, that's somebody's actually family land. And they gonna be sad when they figured it out. Damn, y'all niggas burnt my shit down. Peak gang. So, let's get into white slavery real quick, right? Or YT slavery, servitude, slavery, fuck it. So, many Europeans were enslaved in early America, right? We starting right there. Rethinking Slavery is the title. Rethinking Slavery, a hidden history of black and white enslavement. Number one, many Europeans were enslaved in the Americas. YT slavery did exist though. It's more accurate in many cases to describe it as chattel bondage or lifetime indentured, especially for poor Irish, Scots, and other Europeans. During the 1600s, right, nigga, 1600s. During the 1600s, right, tens of thousands of Irish were forcibly transported to the Americas and the Caribbean. Many were branded, sold, and treated as property conditions indistinguishable from slavery. That's because it was slavery. The poor English people from England, right? English poor people, the criminals, the WAR prisoners, those who rebelled against Christianity, right? Your political war prisoners. They were also enslaved or indentured under brutal, often long-time terms. Most white Americans don't descend from slave owners. I told you, one of the most truthfulest things that white folks ever said was, my family never owned slaves. Which you should have started thinking, hold on. If all y'all niggas didn't own slaves, who the fuck owned the slaves? It was your ass. That's why a lot of them mad at you, because you used to own their family. For real. This is why a lot of them mad at you, because you used to own their family. It's a fact. Y'all better go research them black slaves. But anyway, just keep going though. So most YT Americans don't descend from slave owners. The majority of white Americans today descend from working class immigrants who arrived after the Civil War, after slavery was abolished. In translation, majority of YT Americans today are Ellis Island babies. They're not even colonial niggas. You're older than today's YT Americans. Your census records go all the way back to colonial times. 90% of YT Americans go back to Ellis Island. These niggas don't know about you either. We're gonna let that breathe though. Alright, we're gonna let that breathe though, right? Listen. Most of them came from Ellis Island. They wasn't even here during colonial times. Your census records is older than the natives and the YT people. I'm gonna say that again. Your census records is older than the natives and the YT people. Because you are the original American. You are the original American. 10:10 on the clock. We good? Y'all straight? Holla if you hear me. All the astrology and numerology is wrong. Then because of the phantom timeline. Yeah, Lou. Yeah. Remember, we had a 13-month calendar. And they changed our 13-month calendar in like 1930. Furthering the change in the timeline, right? So this is why I always told y'all that, like, because we had a 13-month calendar, you might not be your actual zodiac, honestly. And I know a lot of people is so tied to your Gemini. I'm a Gemini. I know I'm a Gemini. I feel it. I'm a Scorpio, bro. Fuck that shit you talking los, nigga. I know, y'all. I know. But that's called emotion. Just think logically, because we talking about history. You had 13 months. There's a month that's missing because there's 13 zodiacs. And nobody has ever told you, yeah, man, my zodiac sign is the 13th, motherfucker. You ain't never heard nobody say that. Why? Because you're stuck on a 12-month zodiac. So therefore, when you add that extra month they took away and add that extra zodiac, a lot of people ain't the real zodiacs that you think you are. Shit, you might be a Pisces. And you thought that you was a Aries the whole time. Or you might be a Taurus and you thought you was an Aries the whole time. Right? Well, peep game. Exactly. Right, Big C. Right. And that zodiac hangs right over America. Real shit. That zodiac that you just said, Big C, it literally hangs right over America because it's a Naga. It deals with water, fish, and Naga. Right? Peep game. I'm a Gemini, but in the 13th calendar, I'm a Taurus. See? I'm a Aries, but on the 13th month, I think I'm a Pisces or some shit like that. Which I can see it. A lot of those changes happened in the early 20th century. Easy. Right, Swarthy. Right. Right. Because I was telling people earlier today, because you wasn't here. I think you just got in here. Because this is the topic of the day. And you already know what it is. Big dog, you already know what it is. This is the topic of the day. False slave narratives. Little Ice Age equals big lies. So we started with the Little Ice Age. Then we went to the Phantom Timeline. Right? And now we here. It's all connected. Right? It's all connected. For those who don't know what the Little Ice Age is, I go over it because I know a lot of y'all just not getting over here. But yeah, the Little Ice Age equal big lies. Because how is there slavery going on when there's mass starvation and famine? For one, in the 1300s, people forget that the Black Plague happened in Europe. 30 to 60% of the population got knocked off. And that's just the Black Plague. Then Europe got hit that same time with starvation and the Great Famine of 1300s. Same time in Black Plague. So not only is the Black Plague taking you off by 30, 60% of the population, then the Great Famine took off another quarter of the population. So you telling me that during this whole time, people had the strength to build a boat, enslave thousands of melanated people, come to America, build colonies, and grow crops and pick cotton and shit, even though it's the Little Ice Age and ain't no crops growing, but somehow you in the field picking some shit during the Ice Age, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of inconsistencies with this slave narrative that actually proves, bro, 90% of this shit didn't happen. And it's all fabricated. Hey, what did that Gates dude said? They just making it up as they go along. Yeah, the same shit with history. They just making it up as they go along. Yeah. They said we were making ice cubes. Nah, for real. Come on, man, look. So, there's a lot of inconsistencies with this. So let's get back to it, though. Let's get back to it. So now, so most YT Americans don't even descend from slave owners. Majority of YT Americans today descend from working class immigrants who arrived after the Civil War. After slavery was abolished, right? They came during Ellis Island, right? Your 12 million immigrants was them, okay? Only about 56% of Southern YTs ever owned slaves in 1860. And even fewer had large plantations. Free blacks owned slaves too. This is a documented but rarely discussed fact. This is a well-documented but rarely discussed fact. In cities like New Orleans, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, there were black property owners of whom owned slaves. In the 1830s, the U.S. Census reported in Louisiana alone over 3,000 free black people owned slaves. Right? Over 3,000 in Louisiana alone owned slaves. All right? P-gang. I wonder who plantations they really burning down. I wonder who plantations they really burning down, right? So, because we know it ain't the YT people. We just read it. The YT people got here during Ellis Island. So who plantations are they really burning down? Because it ain't the YT people. They just got here. Who plantations are they really burning down? Because it ain't the YT people. They just got here. All right. So the racialized slave narrative was constructed over time. The racialized slave narrative was constructed over time, meaning that they made it up. Right? They constructed it over time, meaning they made it up as they was going along. And they still making it up as they go along. Now, a motherfucker told me that the slaves was eating lemons on the ships when they came over here. For real. I got the video posted on my main page. A motherfucker came on my panel and said they ate lemons. That's how they survived the Middle Passage. I was like, nigga, they ate lemons. Nigga, that wasn't in Roots. That wasn't in Amistad. Nigga, where the fuck you read that at? Nigga ate lemons? Nigga, you know how many lemons you gotta cut up and feed, bro? What the fuck? Babies can't even eat lemons, bro. Like, that shit was just weird. That shit was just weird. But a motherfucker told me niggas ate lemons on the boats. But, you know, nigga got up and exercised and shit. They brought them up to the deck. Niggas did yoga and Pilates. Went back, chained up. Nobody fought. Nobody resisted. Nobody thought about taking over the boat when they brought them. You know, it was just crazy shit. So they making it up as they go. So the racialized slave narrative was constructed over time. Early colonial America had interracial slavery. Both so-called black and white people could be enslaved for debt, crime, or WAR captive. The laws began shifting in the late 1600s, turning slavery into a hereditary race-based caste system. That transition served the colonial elite's interests, right? Divide the lower class and stop multiracial unity like that of Bacon's rebellion in 1676. Now stop though, because I'm going to throw a curveball in here. White and black as statuses. Remember what I told you, Sephardic Jews and Moors were classified as white in the 1600s. Sephardic Jews and Moors didn't become Negroes and colors until the 90s, late 1800s and 90s. Anything before then, they was always white. So when they talk about this race or interracial, is it really interracial or is it classism on some Romeo Juliet shit or some Titanic shit, right? The poor white boy and the rich white girl, and you can't be with him, he's a peasant. I think it's more like that, hidden under so-called race. Classism is a motherfucker, right? How would you prevent those lemons from going bad, man? Look. So, but anyway, just keep going though. Just keep going. So, where so-called black and white indentured servants and enslaved people rose up together, right? Which is largely left out of stories. Why this history was suppressed, some of y'all probably ask. Well, why the fuck they hiding this shit? Well, if they told you the truth about history, these truths disrupt the binary white oppressor, black victim framework. Meaning, black people can't be victims if you know that you ain't come from a slave. The only reason why you have a victim mentality is because you believe that you came from a slave. So you would act oppressed. And it's crazy that they keep using the word binary. Like, this is like a computer simulation, right? Binary, right? Zeros and ones and shit, right? Binary. But anyways, these truths disrupt the binary of YT oppressor and black victim framework. They also threaten elite power structures by reminding us that the regardless of color were exploited together, and that divide and conquer tactics were used to prevent unity. So the conclusion is that the real history of slavery in America is more complex than what is typically taught. Both YT and black people were enslaved, often by elites of both races as well. It was a class thing, not a race thing. Okay? Recognizing this complexity allows for a deeper understanding of how class and race have been manipulated, because race and class is the same thing when you understand it. But they have been manipulated to divide people and suppress collective resistance. We're going to let that breathe right there. A union thing, right? Yeah. Yep. It was a class thing. And they made race and class synonymous. Because, you know, they can make shit, you know what I'm saying, when they be playing with words. But class and race is synonymous. Right? That's why I say you got to study the religion part too. Because religion has no color. Just because I said that Muslims were dark-skinned, majority of Muslims are dark-skinned. That doesn't change the fact that you still got white people who's Muslims. Right? It still don't change the fact you got Chinese people who's Muslims. You got Mexican Muslims right now in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? It was never about skin complexion. It was about class. Classism. It was about snatching land. That's if we talking colonial times. I mean, like real colonial time. Well, I can't even say real colonial times because a lot of that shit was fabricated. So this is why we get to understand the real. Right? Because think about it. If there's a little ice age and YT people are the slaves, it makes sense. Why? Because YT people can be out in the cold and they can work in the cold. Melanated people can't. So that fits the story of the little ice age. When you ask, well, how was there slavery? Well, for one, these people came over here hungry, right? So we put them to work. They can work in the cold. You see them working the cold still to this day. In the wintertime, motherfuckers were still outside doing construction. I was like, bro, it's a goddamn 12 degrees. What the fuck y'all doing? Them niggas out there chilling. It'd be 20 degrees. Niggas got thong sandals and shorts on and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, it makes sense that they was the slaves during the Little Ice Age. And you had a few black Europeans who came with them. Right? You had a few black Europeans who came with them. Because it was a Europe problem. Right? It was a Europe problem. What's that in the hippie? Peace, peace. Right? That little ice age. And remember, there was a year without sun, too. Inside the little ice age. There was a year with no sun. What crops are you picking when there's no sun for a year? Ain't no cotton. Ain't no sugar cane. A year with no sun. At a time frame, they told you niggas was picking cotton. Something ain't true. I'm gonna take niggas picking cotton for 200, Alex. 1860, right, Swarthy? The year with no sun was 1860. And that right there is supposed to be one of the heights of slavery. If I'm not mistaken, that's supposed to be one of the heights of slavery. 1860. But it ain't no sun for a whole year, though. So look up 1860. What happened in 1860? What's happening, bro, man? Peace, peace. I'm intrigued. No sun. Can you make a live about it? I break out the book again. One live. The Little Ice Age. I'll bring out the book again. All right. Peace. Appreciate that. Thank you for whoever just bought a book. I really do appreciate. Peace. Appreciate that. Thank you for whoever just bought a book. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. I'm humbly appreciative. I hope you enjoy it. Tons of gems in it. Tons of gems in it. All right. But I will go over this, Lola. Right? Matter of fact, real quick, it's like 31 people in here. How many of y'all don't know about the Little Ice Age? And y'all just came in like, what the fuck we talking about? How many of y'all don't know about the Little Ice Age? You remember the Little Ice Age? Is that the sub part? We'll talk about the sub part, cause I know that we was fast with it. You dropping your book Friday? Hey, send me the link, big dog. Send me the link when you drop it. What's that name? More Elohim. Sweet Cake. So you never heard of it? Okay. Anybody else never heard of the Little Ice Age? This your first time hearing about it, Baby Red? Okay, cool. So the Little Ice Age, right? This is just gonna be a quick overview, and I'll break it down as I talk. So the Little Ice Age overview. All right, so the Little Ice Age was a period of regional cooling, particularly affecting the northern hemisphere, with approximate between the years of 1300 to 1850s. All right, it just started warming up in the 1850s, so always keep that in your mind. So this was not like a full ice age like you think it is, like how the dinosaurs and shit, but the colder was intense and interspread with warmer periods. So key features of the Little Ice Age. So the timeline, it started around 1300s. The peak of the cooling was 1600s to the 1700s, right? The peak of the cooling is during so-called slavery. Listen. And I don't think y'all understand the peak of the cooling inside this book called The Little Ice Age. The peak of the cooling was like below 1. You know what I'm saying? Some places were like 12 degrees. Some places were like 0. Some places was like -2. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking about some cold shit. All right? We talking about a year with no sun. I'm talking about some cold shit. Listen. So they tell you the peak of the cooling was during the 16 to 1700s now, right? Motherfuckers is on the boat, though, bringing slaves, so-called. And it ended around the 1850s, which is kind of around the same time that the mud floods happened, right? Peep game. You know, when ice thaw, water rises and shit floods. So always keep that in the back of your mind, too. So the climate effects of the Little Ice Age is that it was colder winters and shorter growing seasons, right? Shorter growing seasons is very crucial, especially when you talk about the peak cooling of the 16 and 1700s. There are shorter growing seasons. What crops are slaves picking? If there are shorter growing seasons, because ain't nothing really growing, and the peak of the cooling is cold as shit, what slaves? What ships? What they eating? How they keeping warm coming across the water? All right? These are questions that you should start asking when we start talking about the Little Ice Age, which is well documented. This ain't no fabricated shit. This is a well documented event. They just never taught you about it. And it's for specific reasons. So now, colder winters and shorter growing seasons. Glacial expansions in the Alps, Scandinavia, Alaska, and the Andes. Freezing of major rivers like Thames in the UK and Seine in France. Increased frequency of famines and crop failures in Europe and parts of Asia. So increased frequencies of famine and crop failures in Europe. Sounds like niggas is hungry. and malnutrition. But somehow they had the strength to build a boat, push the boat in the water, get in the boat, stop by Africa, grab some niggas on the Gold Coast with they hungry ass. Everybody is on the boat with no food, no famine. I mean, food, famine, and disease. Because remember, the Black Plague and shit still going on. And they somehow take a trip across the Atlantic during the Little Ice Age and land up in America, ready to work, enslaving indigenous people and shit like this, all while they are hungry and it's cold as hell and they're sick. Okay? So the global impact, right? The global impact, most prominent or permanent in Europe, in parts of North America and Asia. Weaker or delayed effects in southern hemispheres, monsoon failures in Africa and India, severe droughts in parts of China and America Southwest, severe droughts, which is probably the reason why you got a desert out there in the Southwest now, because of the droughts, right? Because we talking about permanent damage. The reason why you got deserts out there now, right? Peep gang. All right. So now, roll it if you got it. Roll it if you got it, right? So now, what caused this little ice age? Right? What caused the little ice age? Volcanic activity. From the top of my head, inside of the book, The Little Ice Age, it was like 3,000 volcanic eruptions that was happening simultaneously. And the ash from the volcanic eruptions blanketed the skies, which blocked the sun and the UV, the aerosols. And because of this, it created a solar minima, meaning periods of low solar activity, such as the Mater Medium in 1645 to 1715. Okay? Low solar activity. And because of this little ice age of the volcanic and the solar activity being low, it changed the directions of the ocean. Right? The ocean circulation changes because the shifts in the ocean currents may have altered heat distribution, meaning that the currents in the gyrus changed, right? It was a planetary shift. So now, peep game, if after the shift, the gyrus is taking you from Africa, Europe to America, then that must mean before the shift, right? Before the shift, the currents was taking you from America to Europe and Africa. And inside the book called The American Discovery of Europe, it actually tells you that the American Indians followed the sea turtles to Europe. Right? But we're going to keep going. Just want to drop that little gem real quick. I got you, Swarthy. Hold on, I'm going to bring you up. Let me finish this page real quick. So now, right? So now the ocean changes. I appreciate that, hippie. So now the ocean changes, right? So now you get to human land use. So because of the reforestation after the indigenous depopulation in the Americas, that may have reduced the atmospheric carbon. Because you know that the indigenous people of America is carbonated beings, right? Carbonated beings. All right. So now, what is the historical consequence of all of this? Well, you got shorter growing seasons, which led to crop failures. You got the famines occurring, including the Great Famine of 1315 and 1317 that I just told y'all about, right? Remember, the Black Plague happened, took out 30 to 60% of the population. The same time the Great Famines was happening, took another 30 plus percent of the population, right? But they tell you that Europeans enslaved every damn body. All right, peep game. So societal. European witch hunts increased during poor harvest. That's because they was eating them. Nah, for real. Because they didn't have crops and shit, and the animals was you know what I'm saying, passing away and shit, they started eating each other. All right. So now migrations and conflicts grew to food scarcity. Nordic colonies in Greenland collapsed due to the climate. Cold weathers inspired snowy villages scenes in Dutch art, which told you about the little ice age when you look at them again. Right? Freezing of the Thames led to frost fairs in London. Appreciate the gift. Thank you for the gift. So how does the little ice age connect with broader history? Well, it influenced migrations and societal collapse happen. May have contributed to disease outbreaks, right? And the Black Death, right? So Black Death, Black Plague, Great Famine. But somehow they managed to enslave you. They affected the indigenous civilizations of America because of the Black Death. They told you smallpox, right? It wasn't smallpox, right? These boys came over here when they had that shit, right? They came over here when they had that shit, that black, yeah. It wasn't no small, like they told you. Remember that a lot of those colonial stories is bullshit and made up. Them boys came over here sick, hungry, and fucked up, and they coughed on us, and it affected us. All right, we're gonna keep it all the way at $1.10. So the little ice age was a real and well-documented climate event with significant global and social effects. Right? Y'all good? Anybody got any questions? I know that was a lot to unpack. The question is, what slavery? False slave narratives. How are you picking cotton and it's cold as hell in the 16 and 1700s? You know? Peace. What's that, Swarthy?
No, peace. The coldest thing about the whole little ice age in the 1816 and all that, a lot of events happened during that time. I got a video where they took my account. Now, damn, they keep taking my goddamn accounts. So I had a video where it was basically, I'm gonna have to repost it because all my videos saved. So I'm gonna have to repost this video where I'm showing all the stuff that happened in 1816. The little ice age happens, and all these WAR start popping off too. I'm talking about in the Americas. It was a like a WAR in Barbados. It was another one all around. It was all around through South America. But in the video, I'm basically showing event by event by event. And keep in mind, this is the same year that the camera was invented.
Mm-hmm.
And Frankenstein was wrote. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. She said she wrote it that year because it was so like bad. They couldn't go outside, so she just was like making up stuff in her imagination about creating some type of people.
And you know something too, Swarthy? Now it makes sense too when we talk about the Phantom timeline, and they said that between the 16 because you know they added 1,000 years. So when you take that 1,000 off, and they talk about the Phantom timeline happening in 600s to 911, right? Which would be 1600s and 1900s. If you add that 1,000, they say nothing happened during that time. That's because the little ice age happened, and everybody was trapped in, and people was just writing shit. And this is where some cool motherfucker wrote a dope ass story about slavery and some other shit, and and boom, there it is right there. This is the story that we running with.
Facts, bruh. So much stuff. I mean, like the I can't even say the word. The stethoscope, the shit that doctors wear around their neck. That shit was even invented in 1816.
Yeah, yep. A lot of that shit was. And then when you dig into the history, they also said that Black Americans had like 300 years of inventions that stretch all the way back to the 1600s. But for some reason, we only know about 10 inventions, and that's in
Hmm.
the 1800s. What else did we invent in the history?
Exactly. We don't know nothing about the 1600 inventors. They don't tell you about them. They're the ones they
Right.
hide. But like you said, it tie into the phantom timeline. So a lot of this history that people like on here arguing, busting blood vessels in their brain, trying to argue back and forth with somebody about never even happened.
Never even happened.
Especially y'all niggas talking about some Christopher Columbus.
Hey, it's crazy. And you know what's crazy about the Christopher Columbus? West Indians ourselves or themselves only hear about Christopher Columbus in school. There's no oral story. If it really happened, it should be at least an oral story. Like my great 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 grandmama
Yeah.
seen him die.
My grand uncle fought that nigga. It should be some type of story. What a story at? This the knife my great grand uncle passed me down when the Christopher Columbus colonizers came and they was fighting them. Where that story at though? It should be somebody on TikTok with that story going viral right now.
And it's a billion people on here, so at least somebody like it's a billion people on TikTok. We should have at least seen a Frederick Douglass ancestor, a Nat Turner
Washington
ancestor,
great great grandson. He should have a TikTok.
bruh.
Abraham Lincoln. Look, even hit him with. I'm gonna even hit you with some modern people. Where's Harriet Tubman's granddaughter at? Great granddaughter at?
I,
Her great granddaughter should have a TikTok right now.
yeah, or Abraham Lincoln.
Where these folk grandchildren at? They should have TikToks. At least a Facebook or a LinkedIn or something.
Somebody would have found them. I mean, these folks connected Obama with the royal family. You would think that something like that would have been, oh shit, we just found Harriet Tubman's great great granddaughter, and she got a photo album and shit.
But here's her Facebook. Y'all go follow her. You know what I'm saying?
He said,
And
switch.
then like I be thinking about like how like you got Chief Warhorse and Chief Warhorse will tell you herself it ain't been a lot of people on her 45, 50-year journey of standing on Indian business. She been like one of the only ones. So where the hell is all these supposed ancestors of these great people at?
Yeah,
Y'all should be standing on business.
I be questioning some of these Indian narratives and people too. Because if you create and explore a colonial story, then you gotta create some Indians to go with it.
Yeah. Man, a lot of this history is definitely BS and is made up on the spot. Like, I be feeling like the History Channel niggas be definitely freestyling. They be like, it had to been aliens. It's to the point where they just like everything is aliens. But I seen them saying that Abraham Lincoln was an alien.
Yeah,
Everything is an alien now.
everything is. Everything is, man, and it's wild, bro. And just the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, like you be like, bro, a lot of these stories don't make sense for real. Like even when I be thumbing through these books and screenshotting and coming and teaching folks about colonial period, because again, there's gems in it if you know how to read it. But when I'm at home reading this before I'm screenshotting it, some of this stuff be seeming like the Bible. I be like, hold
Yeah,
on,
this
hold
shit be
on, hold on,
contradicting itself. Like the whole narrative that we created clothes, but all the depictions of us is half naked. So niggas didn't. We created clothes and well, we sold them to another people.
bro. That's one of the greatest examples that you just said that I didn't thought about for real, for real. Like when I read the American Indian Contribution book and it said that we had trousers since 25,000 years.
Yeah. So
I
why
was
there ain't
like,
no pictures of us with trousers on?
then why the fuck they depicting us either naked or with leaves on with no shirt?
This shit diabolical. Like the math don't be mathing, especially like when you deep into this history and you study this shit for real. The gems start coming to you after a while. You don't even have to look for them. And that's one of the gems that came to me. Like, bro, we made pants, but I can't find not one picture of us with pants on.
Not one, and then when you get that, and then when you get the book and you look at all the inventions and contributions, And then when you think about how Indians should be living, isn't that spaced out mud huts or teepees? Like this shit's an
Mm.
actual city. You need a city to have toilets and stoplights and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
All the modern conveniences that they tell you they invented, this shit been here.
barber shops.
Roads and everything, toilets, all that.
But niggas said that we had barber shops in America for like 2,500 years now.
Nigga had apartments. We had apartments. Nigga, you know like how hood that is? We created apartments, nigga.
So I'm sitting here like, what if our so-called black communities is probably the oldest thing still standing from colonial times, and we
Mm-hmm.
changed?
I can already see it when they got here and they really seen us. They was in like some savage looking clothes and they seen us fresh dressed, matching clothes with beautiful motherfucking colors and shit. But they was like, oh, these niggas is fancy.
Man, we had grills in,
Yeah, these niggas is fancy.
gold
But they,
chains.
they dripped in gold. Look at their house. Look at this nigga. This nigga got a 52-bedroom house.
Man, man, they,
That's how
man,
they,
they, man,
this
they
nigga got a
said,
castle.
man, they said American Indians was shooting dice. Niggas was gambling. There, I got 2 gold coins. Hey, bet them up, shake them. Like you still
Mm-hmm.
see the indigenous culture.
That's why they build casinos. If you pay attention, if you go to casinos, 90% of the people in the casinos is melanated people.
Mhm.
Every casino I ever went to, I see none but niggas up in that motherfucker. Vegas. I done been to casinos in Mississippi. Definitely the ones in Mississippi be full of niggas. On the boats.
Because we the Indians and they know that we like to gamble. Indians like to
Just
gamble.
like just like they know we like tobacco. And that's why they put them shops everywhere. And guess who run the shops? Them Arabs. So when we be telling y'all Moors, y'all ain't got nothing to do with the Alawite dynasty in the peace and friendship treaty. Y'all don't, because that peace and friendship treaty give them the rights to come over here. Not even the rights. It's a deal for them to come over here and sell your products to you.
Tax free. Like real talk. And then when
That
you
they've
look
been doing that shit since United States became a corporation.
and then when you look at things in hindsight, you know that we the indigenous people because you have to cater to the people of the land if you want to get rich. This is why that we consume $2.3 trillion a year of stuff because most of the stuff is our shit that's being catered to us, and we don't even remember it.
Exactly. Look at the hair care industry. Boy, that's $1 trillion. They say that's like a $2 trillion industry a year. And who's spending all their money on hair?
Our women is the face of the hair industry. From all the hairstyles, all the lashes, our women is the face of it. Just like we the face of fades, locks. Like we the face of a lot of shit.
That's what that's what's so diabolical about this shit. These people want to be the original people, but you don't fit the description. Like to fit the description, first of all, you had to been reclassified as a Negro. So all y'all that's talking about, yeah, we was here where Walter Plecker didn't reclassify y'all. Then secondly, I keep asking this one. It was two water fountains during the 1940s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Which water fountain was y'all drinking out of? The colored water fountain or the white tea water fountain? Because it wasn't no middle water fountain that said Latino.
Right. Nah, for real, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. And the Indians were coloreds at that time now. So I mean, I can call my grandmama who's still alive. She remembered drinking from colored water fountains, and she told me everybody but us was drinking from a white fountain. And I was like, Grandma, what do you mean everybody but us? She was like,
So Asians,
Latinos,
everybody.
Asians, white folk, like everybody was drinking from it but us. We only could drink from colored. I was like, so all them was like white then? She was like, you can say that if they was drinking from it. I guess they would be white. And I was like, okay, so
How can
that's
you be YT and there? This what I said. This why I made that post on Facebook. How can you be the colonizer and the person that got the person that got colonized?
and there's and people can type this shit in Google that Native Americans were classified as white from 1907 to 1969. 1970, they just became Native Americans, just like we.
They status first, and then once they was established, by the time the 80s rolled around, they was established for almost a decade, and they like, oh yeah, let's change these people class because their elders is passing away around this same time. This early 90s, late 80s, a lot of people, big mamas is passing away. The same big mama that told you was an Indian, she passed away around that time. They knew what they was doing.
Man, look, and I think I done found me a book that proves that Columbus was fake. I gotta download it and read it, but I think I found one. So if I found one, y'all know I'm coming to the live, and we gonna learn that Columbus was fake, and we gonna learn that Amerigo Vespucci is fake in one live. So once we learn that these two main characters is fake in the beginning of this so-called slavery story, you should really start asking for real, like, so did slavery really happen then? If the motherfuckers who started the shit off didn't really exist? Hey man, I haven't found a slave in my tree, and I done went back to the 1600s, little ice age, nigga. Ain't nobody a slave over there. We was chilling in Mississippi and Georgia, and most people on this app haven't found no slaves. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Uh-oh.
This them picking cotton. This
Y'all
some
should
Asians picking cotton.
them
But
Native
we was the slaves. You know what I'm saying? Make this shit make sense.
them Native
We was the
Americans.
niggas. They had us picking cotton, but they never tell about them picking cotton.
Mm-mm. YT people was picking cotton in that same field too.
Yep.
I think that's them in the back. Nah, there's
Yeah. It's. I got a picture of the white tea people too.
yeah, it's the same field, and it's them YT people and like some other folks in the field. And the field owner is a melanated dude.
Yep. All the top slave owners in the United States was all melanated. So like we've been saying about y'all celebrating these plantations getting burnt down, but you're celebrating your great great grandpa house getting burnt down. That's what you're celebrating. So peep the game with no house on there, with a burnt down house.
Nah, for real, man. Look, people be thinking it's a game. Like we be for real. Like thinking it's a game. Like we be for real. Like we could pull up thousands of pictures of other people picking cotton. And man, look, this is real life slavery right here. This like when I just got done reading that folks was in the crops and fields picking in 1830 and 1840s and 50s and shit like that. You can pull up those pictures on Google right now and see who was in the fields picking. It's these people.
Why we don't got no pictures of us, you know what I'm saying, getting beat and whipped and come on now. Where the dude on the horse at? That's supposed to be the overseer. Make this shit make sense, bruh.
Hey, you know something that would be diabolical for real, in the end that everybody find out? Because we find out that everything's told in reverse. What if this whole time they are the actual black people and we fought for them rights, for their rights this whole time? This is why they have the privilege they have. And we don't even know it because we've been fighting.
Because if you know the etymology of black, black means pale.
Yeah.
I
So
think so too. That's why the with the civil rights movement, I always said this. Martin Luther King was their messiah. He had nothing to do with us. If you look at interviews from people in that time, but them older people didn't fuck with Martin Luther King, and the youngsters didn't like him neither.
mm-mm.
They was promoting that Africa and black stuff.
Hey, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. You grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. We ain't never ran across no elder who attended Martin Luther King Church.
Exactly.
I ain't
I
never ran.
always felt like that was for like boule niggas. Martin Luther Ebenezer Baptist Church, that's for boule niggas.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that be up in there. Them niggas that didn't graduated from Spelman and now they going to now they got you know what I'm saying, little law offices, and these people be like we was talking about how the melanated police in Atlanta, boy, them motherfuckers, them red dogs, but a lot of them
Man,
people be boule.
yeah, them red dogs be tripping. Man, you already know. You heard Jesus. Like for real, like, and it was crazy because like I used to think that as a kid, fuck the black people still being police officers, bro. Why y'all they doing being police officers, bro? Why y'all they doing shit like I wouldn't be no police if I was a melanated person, bro. Like,
That's like working for the working if you supposed to be a Christian but you working for the devil. You
man,
working, yeah, you working. Like, make that make sense.
and motherfucker be talking about, well, I need a job. I get that, but that one,
Yeah, and bruh, if you like, come on, man, it's
but that one,
yeah, and bruh, if you like, come on, man, it's 1,000 other jobs. Like, you could have been a firefighter.
you could have went to the army.
Exactly. Like, it's a bunch of other shit you could have did.
I'm just saying here like, but that shit just be crazy, bro. Like, I don't get. So I just look at it like they simply just not us. It's simply just not us. That's the simplest answer. Those black police is not our people. And then some of them are black Cubans. Like a lot of folks that they really, the black Cuban is our person, but you know how folks brainwash. So you'll find out that like, damn, a black American police officer is actually rare for real. Cause that ain't no job career that is promoted in our household. I ain't never grew up with nobody in my neighborhood or city that grew up and was like, yeah, I do want to be a police officer, bro. What?
Hey, I got one homie that I grew up with, but now that I'm thinking back on everything, this nigga family was on some boule shit. This nigga definitely got black Anglo Saxon in his family, and he even looked like one. But this nigga ended up becoming he worked for Douglas County Police Department. He a detective. That nigga he like of you know what I'm saying, what's that shit called, 187s. He do 187s. And hey,
Man.
this nigga was on what's that show? He was on the TV. He be on TV too. This nigga was on damn what's not First 48? What's the other one? Yeah, it's kind of like First 48, but it's another one.
Ah, shit, I don't know.
It's like one of those crime shows where they got like a day or two to solve the crime.
Ah,
It's
man,
like First 48 though. Yeah, he been on First 48 too though, but he'd be on this other show all the time. But he worked for Douglas County Sheriff's Department in Atlanta.
can't fuck with it. I
That
can't.
shit crazy. But look, he was always like a weird nigga. He didn't never used to chief. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was the nigga that driving the designated driver when we was like young and in our 1920s. He'd take us to the club and drive us home. Shit like that.
Coco said cold
Cold
case.
case, yeah. That's what he be on. Cold case.
I ain't never seen
Yeah,
that
this
one.
nigga. Yeah, but he was never but he was never like cool. His mama was a police, and we used to get like in trouble and stuff, and his mama would get us. She was a police for Atlanta police department, but she would always get us out of shit whenever we was in the city. We just mention her name, and they'll call her, and they be like, they let us go.
Mm-mm.
But now I'm looking back on it. This nigga was definitely back Black Boule. Definitely.
And, and I'm just sitting here thinking though about that picture you got up. The crazy thing about that picture, that is like the tail end of the little ice age when shit start warming up and the crops started growing again.
Look how they smiling. You can tell they happy. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
The world is a worlding again. Did they pop repop? This is around the time where they letting mass amounts of immigrants come to America, just flooding in. We giving you land. We gonna promise you money. We promising you land. We promising you housing. We promising you health care. The United States government was promising them folks everything. And
Yep.
some of these people got to become actors in the circus. So like one of the jobs, if you didn't want to work in the plantation, you can go join the circus.
Yep. The world fairs.
Mm-hmm. And you get to play Indian. They pay you $5 a day, and you go play Indian. It probably wasn't even five. It probably was a nickel back then. A
Probably was.
nickel and 5 cents a day, and you go play Indian.
And then later on, when inflation happened, that 5 cents became $5.
Because these niggas definitely got caught multiple times being actors in these Wild Wild Bill shows and the Bill Pawnee shows. There's plenty of videos and pictures of these people playing with wigs on. So if y'all indigenous, why like a nigga couldn't play me to play a nigga? Like, huh?
Hey, man, look.
How
Yeah,
how the government gonna pay you to play yourself?
and you know what's crazy now? When I wake up, like, because I never really watched the westerns like that. Um, but now when I go back and watch it now with my third eye and shit, you can see the Filipino, you can see the German, you can see the Italian, like you can see these motherfuckers playing Indian, and you be sitting here like, and you can see the real Indian, but he's a cowboy, but he's like an outlaw cowboy, or he's a ranger or some shit like that always in these stories. And I was
And
like,
that look, even it's some truth to that too. Watch this. It's a little bit of truth to all this shit.
mm-hmm.
This who that yeah, look, they was rangers, all right. They was going around catching wild ass Indians.
Yep. 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 The first
This how
Indian
they got their
police.
citizenship. Yeah, this how they got their citizenship. They got on the BIA and all that.
Yep. Welcome back, Brother Dircher at the building. Bobby Bands in the building was at it. Yeah, your first police in America was natives. This is why they be so quick to call the police and work with the feds on niggas.
And they whip out that federal badge, aka my federal tribal card, quick as hell badge, aka my federal tribal card, quick as hell. They whip that shit out so quick, just like the police.
Them Indian agents, as history tell you. So what we're saying to everybody is that what we're saying to everybody is that colonial times actually started in the 1800s, and not 16 and all of that shit that they told you. A lot of that is fabricated because they added 1,000 years. And when we say they added 1,000 years, it goes well into the 1600s. So a lot of that was fabricated to the point where you get your first census records, which is 1790. What a coincidence. 1800s, immigrants started coming in. What a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? You been here the whole time. The document I read to y'all about white slavery, they said majority. I don't know about y'all, but majority to me sounds like damn near all, but not quite. Majority of YT Americans of today come from Ellis Island. They just got here. They not even your colonial YT Americans. Why? Because your colonial YT Americans is passing away. They're not, man, them boys is, your Congress is probably the last of the last, and some of them niggas is Ellis Island. You, man, your last, I'm being real, your last of the colonial YT people is what you call hillbillies and rednecks today. Those are your last of your colonial Americans. So you, and, you know, y'all pretty much the only ones who could trace y'all ancestry all the way back to colonial times. Natives can't. Modern YT people can't. Some of these new YT Americans of today is got them Ukrainians came here. Ah, yeah, them niggas American now, right? Okay, YT Americans, huh? You forgot. Yeah.
Bro, one of the biggest myths about YT people is the ones that be like, I'm Irish. But 99% of them niggas lying.
Most of them is German as fuck.
Exactly. That's
Most of them is German as fuck.
exactly. That's they claim Irish and they claim Native American quick as hell.
Yeah.
Anybody but if the nigga ain't got red hair and freckles right there in your face, don't believe him.
And the only reason why they claim the Irish because they know Irish have colonial ties here. But man, y'all niggas, majority of the immigrants come from Ukrainian and Germany and shit. Russia. Like, yo, Caucasians, right? Caucasians ain't, that's a whole different direction from Ireland. You feel? That's a whole different direction in Ireland, bro. So, peep game. Colonial white Americans, they barely exist now. You surrounded by all new immigrants. Your government is immigrants. The people around you is immigrants. You are the only original person left here in America, honestly. Why? Because they had to repopulate America. Why? Because the little ice age, the famine, wiped everybody out except for us. Why didn't it wipe us out? One, because we was the landowners, right? Guess who had the catacombs? We did. This is why we still here and everybody else isn't. Those catacombs wasn't YT people. They just got that. Those was ours. And when all this shit was happening, we went into those catacombs and we had food stored because you know our people deal with astronomy and shit like that. So we knew that this was coming. So
And that makes sense about the little pictures of them early cities, and you like, damn, where all the melanated people at? We still was in the catacombs.
yeah, we was in the catacombs. hmm We was in the catacombs when all that shit happening. And then after everything got dug out and shit like that, then we emerged. And we was like, damn, fuck all these new people. We came out, my motherfuckers was coming over here. But nah, I'm telling you, hey, you telling you some real shit. That's really what happened. Our people was inside the catacombs during the little ice age. Ice age. That's a fact. That's definitely a fact. Them boys thought that we didn't exist anymore until we popped out on them boys. Because remember, they just got here. So they read stories about American Aborigines. And then we start popping up out. Are you guys? Yeah, we them.
Explains why it's YT people that act like they never seen melanated people in real life before. In 2025, you got YT people acting like that.
Mm-hmm.
These folk brand new.
Yep. Because a lot of them never seen. Because think about, especially when you talk about them first Ukrainians who just became American citizens, so now they YT Americans now, right? A lot of them ain't never seen no melanated person. And the crazy thing is you can tell the type of YT person that you encounter too, though. And I learned that by being in Kentucky. Like, any YT person that ever said that they never been around melanated people before, you can guarantee they ain't never been around melanated people before. You can guarantee that they immigrants. They just got here. Because regular YT Americans, I'm talking about the authentic patriot ones with colonial ties, they know who you are. They been around you. Shit, some of them is comfortable around you. They ain't really tripping. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell the different vibes between them. You be like, oh shit, these people been here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? Versus the ones that be like, I ain't never been around black people before. I'm scared. Those are immigrants. You can pay attention. There's a lot of white immigrants around you. They blend in good. What's happening, Cosmic? Peace, peace. Keish, what's happening? Chief Sitting Wolf, what's happening? Yeah. 11:11, we all in here synchronized. That little ice age, boy. That's a motherfucking gem. And the Phantom Timeline. Like, those two topics is what we really need to start diving deep in. Real documented facts. We not fabricating when I just read that on the background and what Swart to be telling y'all about it. Like, we ain't just y'all about it. Like, we ain't just
museum. They got a whole museum for the little ice age.
yeah, it's real shit. So now you got like, so the little ice age is real. When did people have time for slavery? Is my question. I'm still asking.
How you cross the ocean when the ocean frozen?
When the ocean is motherfucking frozen and your ass is hungry and you just got done dealing with the Black Plague and the Great Famine, and you talking about these people who had time to enslave us, man, them folks was chowing on each other's legs. They had bigger problems than trying to enslave us. You trying to keep this nigga off your ass. He trying to grill you. Because it ain't no food. I'm saying in little piece. I mean, we just being realistic. It's a famine. There's no animals because there's no animals because there's no crops. Animals eat crops. If there's no crops, the animals pass away. So there's none of that. These folks turned on each other and started having a buffet. And them niggas came over here with that same hunger and start chowing down on us. And then motherfuckers had to civilize them and was like, no, Johnny, you don't eat melanated people. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Like a motherfucker had to civilize them real quick. Shit. You can't just be out here. We are not in Europe no more. Like for real. It's the land of milk and honey. There's plenty. Now you understand why they hide history. You understand why they rewrite history? Because their history is embarrassing to them. I mean, that shit is kind of embarrassing. Kind of fucked up, too. But they hide history. They rewrite history to hide their story. They hide their story. Think about it. You don't really know shit about YT Americans. It's 2025. We don't even know where motherfuckers come from. We still trying to figure that shit out.
We still questioning where they come from. Some people say where they come from. Some people say the orphan train. Some people say the caves. Some people say the Yakub story. We don't know.
So we don't know what these folks was doing before they got here. Only thing we know is that we don't know what these folks was doing before they got here. Only thing we know is that where they was living at, that shit was hell. Literally. No food, no crops, no nothing. Famine. Alright, like, man, look. Shit. Shit. Them boys ain't had time to enslave nobody. Trust me, bro. I am from the projects and the ghettos. I done had days where I was hungry. Mama couldn't fix nothing. We ain't had no groceries. The last thing I'm thinking about is enslaving a motherfucker, bro. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm trying to. Grandmama got something to eat or something. Like the last thing I'm thinking about is whooping somebody's ass. I might whoop you because I'm hungry. You know, you might get a little hangry, but I ain't trying to captive you or nothing like that. Like. You got a different type of mindset when you hungry and you sick. But a lot of this stuff just contradicts the slave narrative even more. The ocean is frozen. It's cold as hell. There's a great famine. There's disease going on. The 16 and 1700s is the peak of the coldest of this damn ice age. And no crops and shit. And the years with no sun. And you telling me that it's niggas in the field picking cotton, being whipped, having all these so-called slave rebellions and shit.
Ran
Like,
down by Tom Brady. You can't even escape because Tom Brady can catch you.
yeah, and Tom Brady, and you're slower than Tom Brady because every time you escape, he caught your ass. Come on, man, right? Peyton Manning and Tom Brady caught your ass every time you escape because you're not fast enough. You're not fast enough yet because remember, your speed came from slavery. So repetitively of you escaping, you got faster and faster and faster. And they say that passed on in genetics. So this is why we're fast today because of slavery. So at first we were slow people. Like that's what they say. Anything dealing with our greatness is slavery. The reason why you play basketball good is because of slavery.
We only got tall because we mixed with the white T man. They raped our grandmas. It was tall white T men that raped our grandmas.
Which is crazy because when you do research in Europe, the average height of Europeans is only like 5'5" and like 5'4" and 5'6" and shit. So I'm trying to figure out where's these tall Europeans. You know.
Yeah, this is what they want us to believe. You know that we didn't do anything before they found us. We was sick. that we didn't do anything before they found us. We was sitting in mud huts in grass skirts all day long.
Mhm. Yeah.
We invented clothes, but we was like, nah, we gonna sell them to another nigga. It's some other niggas that over there that like wearing these pants. We don't
Mhm.
wear pants.
Mhm. Right, right. Like, you invented a visor, but you don't want to wear that motherfucker though. I get what you're saying. Mhm. That's crazy.
Yeah, we invented cars and we didn't want to drive them. We just
You
wanted
want to drive that
like
bitch?
some people to drive it for us.
Yeah, we ain't want to drive that bitch. That's crazy. That's crazy.
In history, and we gotta go with that because TikTok don't like us to go against mainstream history.
Right, right. Shit like it's just crazy, bruh. The extent that they go to cover shit up and lie. And the crazy thing is, when we really get into the meat in the depths of the rabbit hole, you come to realize that these people are horrible liars, bruh. Like before you
Yeah,
get
they didn't think none of
like
that shit through.
like like before you wake up, and shit, you believe it. You think that this is a good ass lie, or whatever, because you believe it's the truth. But after you wake up, you be like, ah, man, these niggas is horrible liars, bro. How did I miss this? Like, what the fuck? How this part in slavery overlapping with this little ice age part? When did Columbus had time to come over this? Because remember, Columbus is a European. He came from Europe during these times.
Oh yeah, don't forget about during that same time, Napoleon is this Napoleonic stuff too going on.
Yeah,
Napoleon is in France, Haiti, America,
yeah.
Spain. This nigga everywhere at the same damn time.
Yeah, that nigga Napoleon was busy during the Ice Age. This nigga was selling Louisiana over there in Egypt. Yeah, this nigga was busy. This nigga was in British. He was in Britain colonizing and shit. Yeah, you know what's crazy? It ain't no real picture of that nigga either. Like you can pull up Napoleon picture, you gonna get like 30 different drawings of this.
But I done seen Asian looking Napoleons. I done seen Napoleons with red hair, Napoleons with black hair, Napoleon. I done seen all kind of different Napoleons.
It's the same thing with Columbus. You pull up Columbus, bro. There's 30 there. You got black Columbus. You got Mediterranean Columbus. You got white Columbus. you, bro. You got Hebrew Columbus. You
The
got
most diabolical shit about all this is Santa Claus is more real than a lot of these historical figures that they want you to believe in.
Santa Claus is more real than a lot of these motherfuckers, cause he was a wild man. That is facts. Yup, Santa Claus is more realer than these niggas. Nah, but for real though, for real, bro.
This
Like,
this this is the most diabolical lie. That well, it's probably the greatest and the worst lie at the same damn time. It's because it's
this
the greatest because it's been lasting so long and it's been lasting since they said it. Like nobody questioned it from the day they said it.
Mhm. You know what's crazier too? The craziest thing is this is one of those instances of where they say keep the lie simple, because when you overly try to lie, you fuck it up. But most good lies are simple, and they kept this shit simple as hell. So simple that we overlook the main things. Like, how am I gonna believe a story that they wrote and gave me in the first place? If I'm trying to decolonize my mind from anything Eurocentric, why do I still believe in colonization?
And what's so cold about they lie? They could keep adding pieces to it. Like they could be like, here's a piece of wood. Here's it's from a slave ship from the Clotilda. Here's another piece of wood. This is from the Mayflower. They could just they could just add anything. They could just find a toothpick on the ground and add it to the story.
And I'm gonna be real. I knew, and I also knew that you got to be careful with census records. When I ain't gonna say no names. I ain't gonna out them. But I seen somebody on live. I ain't gonna be specific on who live. But he pulled up his genealogy and he was like, "Look, I'm related to Jesus." I was like, "Ah, bro, hell nah, hell, these niggas got a census record for Jesus, nigga. When did y'all find this? And
That's funny,
who uploaded it
boy.
to Ancestry, nigga?"
Boy, you should like. Why you on TikTok telling? Boy, you should be telling the world that. You should be on CNN with that news.
You should be
You
in
on
the
TikTok
Vatican.
with that? You should. Yeah, you should be at the Vatican telling the Pope, "Get out my chair."
What? Man, bruh. So I was like, yeah, because then I had to remember, like, they did fabricate census records around the 1820s, 1830s. Like, a lot of those census records are fabricated.
Yes, yes, a lot, especially like the ones that like got these names. When you look on the census record, it be some people with the same first name as the last name. Any
Mhm.
type of shit like that, I be questioning. Like, hold on. So this nigga first name was his last name, or he didn't have a name and they just put that down twice.
Yep. Not be questioning because I ain't got no picture during a time where there was a camera.
Yeah, that's diabolical too. We got pictures of all kind of people in the 1800s, but we ain't got not one picture of a slave. But we got so many pictures of Frederick Douglass. I got like 15 different pictures of this nigga in my phone right now.
Cause I was doing my census records and I was like, why ain't no pictures of my ancestors, bro, during this time that got cameras and shit, bro? What the fuck they hiding? Like you would think that since the camera is invented, this would be the most picture taken era in the world.
Exactly, the new invention. Just think about when cell phones came out. Everybody was taking selfies when the first smartphone came out and niggas was popularizing selfies. Boy, go just look at that year, whatever year selfies came out, and see how many selfies was taken compared to how many taken now. More was
Mm-hmm.
taken that year in the first year it came out than now.
Yep. Yeah, so that is the only back to the 1600s when the letter J was invented. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
letter J was invented. A lot of stuff was freshly invented in the 1600s, other than the J, which hey, I'm gonna do this Phantom timeline breakdown. We're gonna break down a whole lot of stuff. I got a whole lot of stuff that I didn't screenshot it. Man, look, I'm talking about historical characters, like just like earlier in the live when I told everybody, like they repackaged the same story of a person with new names. Like Alexander the Great is the same as Julius Caesar's story. It's the same story. Like they took Julius Caesar and they just put Alexander the Great and gave it to you again. So, and the crazy thing is you read it like it's something that you never read before, but it's when you actually look at it from hindsight and you put both of the stories the same story. Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, same story.
Facts. They did that with a lot of stories in his story. Like the George Washington story is boy, his shit mirrored Prince Hall. His story mirrors Prince Hall's story. That's why I think him and Prince Hall is the same guy.
Yep. And that dude that created the Illuminati, Adam something. I think him,
Yeah,
Prince Hall,
Adam
George
Weiss.
Washington, the same people.
All these niggas, and boy, coincidentally, and they all was in the same time period, so they ain't know each other.
Yep, and they all drawn the same way. So I think all three of those the same people. Just like we learned that, King James of Scotland and King James First of England is the same person. But history would tell you a story that make you think that these are different people, but these are the same people. And once we start understanding a lot of these people are the same people, and some of these people never existed, but they taking stories from old people to create new people, man, that timeline gets shorter and shorter, and you really start to think like, are we really in the 21st century? Or are we really like in 1100 something? Are we like in the 10th century, 11th century for real? And if we are inside the 11th century, damn, niggas got iPhones in the 11th century.
So you know what I'm saying? This is how you know once you find one lie, everything's a lie. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been telling people we gotta scrap history. Niggas be still trying to talk from historical points from the view of Christopher Columbus came here, or wasn't no niggas here before Christopher Columbus. Nigga, you gotta scrap that nigga name, period.
Yeah, you gotta scrap a lot of that stuff. A lot of people trying to take new gems and try to force fit it in old fabrications that don't fit. Like you got to scrap all that. Like just like with the out of Africa theory. If you don't believe in the out of Africa theory, that means you got to scrap Neanderthals, Denisovans, and anything else that is tethered to the out of Africa story. And now you got to really start thinking. Okay, so out of Africa's fake, so that means that nobody came from apes. Then that means a Neanderthal is not real, which means a Denisovan ain't real. Because all of these are just made up words that they just made up in the 1800s. Like they just made this shit up in the 1800s. All of it. They don't even know. So they just named some shit. Them niggas didn't know what dragons was. They was like, okay, we're gonna say dinosaur. The word dinosaur never even existed before 1850s and 60s. So what was people calling giant lizards? And then how the hell can you create a Jurassic Park movie and you ain't never even heard what a dinosaur sound like? Or did we? Because maybe they do exist, just not on this landmass. Because if we not inside the 21st century and we're back inside the 1100s and shit for real, because they added 1,000 years, everything still exists that existed before. You just don't see it because we're trapped inside this. Believe it or not, you are trapped inside a big ass camp. The most you ever been is out of your state, your city, maybe your neighborhood. You ain't never been past the ice wall. Your ass ain't never been to goddamn Patmos Island, which actually exists over there in the British Isles, next to the island called Wight, W-I-G-H-T, meaning creature. But, you know, hey, white people. But, you know, you ain't never been to none of these places. You ain't never roamed the highlands of Ireland to see if leprechauns really do exist. And they do. Niggas done found mummified leprechauns in museums. You can go research that one for yourself. They small motherfuckers with sharp teeth. Like for real. A lot of that mythical stuff still exists. Why you think you can't go so far inside yellow national parks and shit? There's a line that you can't cross. You can only go so far inside national parks.
Yellowstone, bro. This a whole dude. He popular on YouTube. His name is the Missing 411, and he talking about how all these people go missing inside of national parks all around America all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Inside the national park up here, well, ain't not really a national park, but this park is well known. But it's in the backwoods of Kentucky. Well, I ain't gonna say backwoods, but it's in the country part of Kentucky. If you stay out there too long, there's hella stories of people saying that they done seen a half man, half goat out there. If you stay out there too long, and if you, and it's like he playing music or some shit, and if you go to the music, then shit you might not be heard of again. Like it's a real story that goes on up here about a half goat, half man up here. It'd be a lot of cryptid creatures still lurking in these national parks. Ah, yeah. I believe in Bigfoot. Bigfoot ain't that's wild, man.
Yeah, bro. I be feeling like the government experiment on shit and then they release it like into the national parks.
Let's think about it. Cause look, Bigfoot ain't nothing but a big ass wild man. And I believe he exists. Why? Because there's like 3 or 4 states that ban unaliving Bigfoot. Like it's a literal law in these states where you cannot unalive a Bigfoot. And I was like, if this nigga's a mythical creature, why is there a law that protects him? Since when the government started making laws for nothing?
Mm-hmm. Making a national law so you can't touch a leprechaun and shit. We ain't. I mean, that's funny. Like, nah, it's a dude. It's an African dude. He on TikTok. He talk about how he's from Ethiopia. He said it's a river in Ethiopia, and him and his people are at war with mermaids. I can't make this shit up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can they get you peace? Nah, for real. Like this shit be real. I know sometimes this shit be sounding funny and weird to some people, you know, because you know how our minds is programmed. But I'm being so for real, y'all. Like a lot of this stuff that y'all think is fairy tale and don't exist is real.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you should actually start believing in a lot of shit when you start finding out these niggas lied to you about a lot of shit.
Exactly. And notice, I keep saying this. 90% of America is still unexplored, bro. We drive on the freeway. We don't ain't no nigga just was like, let me just drive off, get off this exit right here in the middle of nowhere and drive through the woods and see where this take me. Ain't
Bro,
not one of y'all niggas ever did that.
no.
I
Cause
know I ain't driving off the freeway. I'm staying on the freeway.
man, I'm telling you, like there's still a lot of bruh. And on top of that, there's still we ain't even discovered 95% of the ocean. There's hella shit in there. Motherfuckers is scared of stuff that's in lakes and rivers, river monsters and shit. And you telling me there's something scarier at the bottom of this bitch? In the dark depths that we can't see and go? Nah, bro. Y'all better start thinking that this shit really exists. They starting to think that octopuses are real life aliens. Because when you look at an octopus, bro, they like them and jellyfish damn near immortal.
Yeah, and them shit's hella smart. That shit can fit in the keyhole.
Yeah, they hella smart. I'm talking about like scientists been studying with octopus and giving it all type of like scenarios to like solve, and they've been solving the
Mm-hmm.
hell out of this shit fast.
Exactly.
Motherfuckers
They know how to
catching
open
all.
doors and all kind of shit. Open lids on tanks and all. I seen the octopus open the lid on like a big ass tank and climbed
Man,
up out the motherfucker.
I seen them. I seen one of them where they put an octopus inside of a jar and he twist that bitch from the inside and got out. Like he knew what direction to twist and everything. And got out that motherfucker. He knew turn this bitch left, lefty loosey. I'm up out this bitch. Like I'm sitting here like, and humans really think that they smarter than animals. Shit. Man, if you put one of us in a jar, we wouldn't even think to twist the lid up top. We'll be trying to break the motherfucker, poke holes. We'll be panicking and shit. Push up and twist. Like, I'm just saying, like, animals is hella smart, bro, and humans don't really know shit about them. Even though these scientists be giving them these fake made up names.
Mm-hmm.
This
Like
is just
dolphins. That's some dolphins is another one that's hella smart.
yeah, you can't talk to them. And I wonder why. You can't talk to dolphins, and they be getting high. So they probably really know some shit. They be tapped in.
Yeah, dolphins definitely is like a super animal. It's a bird species too that you look at every day and don't know that these motherfuckers smart. Crows are smart.
Oh yeah, crows is hella smart.
Crows can
And
talk.
they got memory too. Like motherfuckers be
Hmm.
remembering you and shit. Yep. Crows is hella smart too. But yeah, bro, a lot of this stuff, man, a lot of this shit do exist. You know, I'm starting to really believe in and find out. Like, once I seen that law that you can't unalive a Bigfoot, it just confirmed that, you know, that nigga's a wild man. And he probably got a
Hmm.
family in the
That's
woods.
that's their uncle. That's their great uncle, and they
Yeah.
like they trying to protect their family because if you paying attention right now, a lot of these white tea people are starting to turn back into wild men.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The little pills they took is starting to wear off.
And then it only makes sense that the wild man is their cousin because only they know where to go in the woods to find this nigga. Cause they be finding motherfucker instantly.
Yeah, that's the one. The white tea man scared the hell of you. Like they'll see us walking in the street, cross the street, they lock their doors and all that, but they ain't afraid to go in the middle of the Amazon jungle looking for Bigfoot at
Hey,
night at 3 in the morning.
hey,
They ain't scared of that shit.
there's one content creator on here that go to the Everglades and just catch a whole bunch of shit and he be yoinking them. That's what he said. He be like yoink. You know what I'm saying? Like he go to the Everglades of Florida and just be catching random shit. And I be like, hell no. And this probably the same dude who lock his doors when I walk by.
You know he locking his doors when he see you walk across the street.
I'm saying that, oh, Bob, peace. Boy, that cat scared the shit out of me. I ain't even gonna cap. We over here talking about mythical creatures and shit, and this cat done popped up.
Oh yeah, bruh. Listen, when I first met Capri, this is some trippy shit. When she had three cats, right? And they
Mhm.
used to guard her like they was her guard dogs. I swear I put this on my mama. And she used to always like fuck with me and be like, yeah, the cats be going in my closet, coming out of portals and cause the door be locked. And the cat will go in the closet and next thing you know the cat is outside the door.
Mhm.
Like how cats is definitely some mythical cryptid type shit. Cats is mysterious as hell.
Man, cats is tuned in too. That's another creature that's hella intelligent that people don't be realizing. Like people forget cats domesticated themselves. And it was a survival thing. Like during the Great Famine that we was talking about in Europe, that was the time where cats took it upon themselves. It was like, bruh, we ain't gonna make it out here, and they literally domesticated themselves.
Yeah, let's get with these humans.
Yeah. This is why it's so hard to train a cat. And if a cat listen to you, it's not because you got him trained. It's because he either loves you and he look at you like a mother or father figure, so cool, or he know that you feed him. So I better listen to you. But other than that, you can't really train a cat for real. They do their own thing. Cat's the only mammal with slit eyes. That's another thing too. They are the only mammal with slit eyes, which is kind of like reptilian. They got reptile eyes, which I don't like, because science told us that these are felines and shit. A cat probably ain't even a damn feline or whatever that is. It's probably something else. Because think about it, we only calling shit names that they told us, some shit that they just made up because they didn't know. And most of it's still adjectives, right? Like when you talk about a panther is just another name for dark or black. So they seen a cat. They don't know what it is, but they knew this motherfucker was black. So they in their language they was like panther. And later on, it evolves, and any cat that looks like the panther in the face and shit, like lions and shit, they throw it
Uh-huh.
inside the species, like how they do you with
Yeah,
Africa.
Pantera. Yeah, they call it a Pantera.
Yeah. So they don't really know, but most of these scientist words, when you break them down, it ain't nothing but adjectives. It ain't really like no real name shit. So we don't really know what we looking at in this reality. We just only know what they told us, which formed our perception. Cat probably a real reptilian at night. When y'all go to sleep, this nigga probably be transforming and shit, fixing him a bacon and egg and sandwich and shit. You wake up, you be like, "Why I smell bacon?" Because your cat was probably cooking.
Bruh, you ain't never seen that video? Speaking of cat cooking, you ain't never seen that video of the cat drinking water out the water hose?
Mm-mm.
And when the cat seen the human, that shit went to act, it froze and tried to play it off.
Nah, I ain't never seen that.
Bro, that shit diabolical. I said, boy, these cats have been playing us the whole time. This shit been smart as hell the whole time.
I seen one. I seen one of a cat eating out his bowl, and then when the owner turned around, he grabbed his paws and scooped it and started eating it like he was like just on some regular shit. And then when the dude turned around, he dropped everything and started eating it regular. I was like, ah, hell no. Your cat caught a snake the other day. I think cats and snakes be beefing. Hey, I have trained two cats. What you say makes sense. Yeah. The only animal, I ain't gonna say the only one, but when you talk about domesticated animals, the dog is the one that you can for real only train for real. But you really ain't really training a dog. Dog only loyal to you because you feed him. A dog is only loyal to whoever feeds him. I can come to your house right now and feed your dog for a whole week straight. I guarantee he'll walk home with me.
Bruh, I seen the video. It's a video going around right now on TikTok where people trying to see if they dogs are like, you know what I'm saying, help them in the situation. Bruh, the dogs sit there and they put like a bowl of food in front of the dog and then they act like attackers attacking them. And the dog don't, and not one person dog helped them. Every dog I seen ate the food.
Yeah,
Every dog on the video ate the food instead of going to help they master.
because they don't give a fuck. They only care about the food. Because a dog ain't what people really think it is. Like it's a reason why they call it a hellhound. They literally guard the gates of hell. Like they don't. It's a whole science between cats and dogs, esoteric and shit too.
Remember on Willow, they had the little dogs on there, and them dogs would look like they was like pig looking dogs.
Yep.
I literally think the dog and the pig is similar,
And it
like
could,
in nature.
they could be because a pig would eat anything and a dog would too. A dog would eat his own poop, and a pig would too. That shit cool. What's happening, King Fair? I believe a lot of these animals might just be the part of the same species for real, and science just be playing with us.
Yeah, just think about it. When you shave a dog, they all be pink, like a pig.
And then a lot of animals are hybrids and grafted over time. Like these folks been grafting animals for like 1,000 years, so there's no telling what an original dog really looked like. We just know they took a wolf and something else and crossbred it until you got a dog. But they'll never tell you what they crossbred it with. You know what I'm saying? They'll like mainstream will be like, oh, they just took two wolves and interbreed them and domesticated them and it became a dog. That's you can't. So if I take a wolf and domesticate this nigga in his generation, is he gonna turn into this Rottweiler? Hell no. But they'll never tell you what they crossbred the wolf with to get the dog. Because you can't say you crossbred the wolf, the great wolf, with a dog if a dog never even existed to even do that. And dogs supposed to come from the great wolf. So who did you mix the great wolf with to get the dog? So a lot of these animals is spliced. Same with the pig. We know it comes from a boar, but what did you splice that with to get a pig? A hairless ass, a tusk pink pig. They'll never tell you. That should be weird. What's that, Duchess? And they've been doing it on the low for a while. They just now telling us when they showed you the tiger and the liger, but niggas been doing this shit with animals for a while. The donkeys, mules, zebras.
I be feeling like what's that? The pandas, but that shit ain't real. Pandas can't. They have to force them to reproduce.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah, the pandas I don't believe is really real either, because they said that if you leave a panda in nature, they would have been extinct a long time ago because they don't like to reproduce. And then they never tell you where the fuck the panda come from. Like, who did the panda evolve from to even get here? Like, because when you research a panda, it's not really a bear. It's more related to a raccoon or some shit like that than an actual bear, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a big ass raccoon.
Yeah, almost like a big ass badger.
Mm-hmm. So they not really bears for real. Even though they call them a panda bear, they're not really bears. So they don't come from like grizzly and panda stock. But they're more related to like raccoons and badgers and shit. So I'm sitting here like, how the fuck this big ass bamboo eating motherfucker?
Yeah, and bamboo ain't everywhere, so that shit can only be where bamboo at.
Mm-hmm. And then I tell you another animal I think is fake. Koala. A koala bear diet is nothing but
Mm,
and they eat toxic plants on purpose.
yep.
And they know it's toxic, but they still
And
eat it.
that's another one. They gotta force them to reproduce too.
Yep, they gotta force them to reproduce too.
What type of animal has to be forced into reproduction?
And what animal did that come from? Like a lot of these animals just got here, especially when we be reading a lot of these books too. Like when we get into the codexes and a lot of books, they don't be mentioning a lot of these animals in these books. Like I got old animal books into from these days. Like there's no platypus. Like you don't hear that shit. And then some of the animals ain't even in the right location. Like niggas had elephants all through America. The only elephant you see is at the zoo now. What the fuck happened to all the elephants? We had American lion. The fuck happened to the American lion? That nigga in the zoo. All your American animals is in the zoo. They told you that they shipped them over here, but come on, man, be for real. Shipped them in, man. Look, a lot of them animals in the zoo is from here. They just throw African on it like they threw African on your ass. Being for real. We had an American cheetah. The crazy thing is the African cheetah comes from the American cheetah. The American cheetah migrated to Africa and the fuck because of the environment change and more desert and savanna area versus over here in America, jungles, trees and fruits and vegetables. Because of the environment change, it shrunk in size and 90% of its apex predator DNA became junk DNA. And now you have the African cheetah that's more domesticated like a cat, a house cat. He even meows like a cat. That shit's crazy. Y'all ain't never noticed that? Go listen to a cheetah meow and then go listen to a cat meow. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. So you be like, hold on. And then there's a house cat that looks like a cheetah. I
And see
forgot.
that all that shit that you talking about tie into my theory about Africa being a big ass human zoo.
Mm-hmm. Experiment grounds and shit.
That's why you got the ostrich tribe feet people and all these weird tribe feet people and people with 7 feet tall and little heads and boy, you got all kind of weird people in Africa that you ain't never seen before.
Well, it's a tribe that got crab hands. Like they got thumbs and pinky. That's it. And it's like a tribe of them. You got ostrich feet people. You go to Asia. You got motherfuckers with horns in their head, tails and shit. Like, man, look, these boys is these boys is diabolical. Cheetahs got the body of a dog, skeleton wise. Nah, I ain't never noticed that. It will actually make sense too, because when you look at a greyhound run, it's the same type of movement that a cheetah has. Pandas eat the worst thing for them too. Like bamboo is mad hard to digest, and it ain't got no nutrition to it. It's like they just eat sticks. And they are horrible parents. I ain't gonna lie, I be getting good laughs late night scrolling when I come across Panda Talk. They are horrible parents. Like they babies just be falling out of trees and shit. They be pushing them down out of trees. I'm like, damn. You like I seen one video, the panda mama just pushed the baby out the tree. He fell hard. Like, God damn, you trying to kill baby? You ain't got no mom instincts. Yeah, pandas is just they. Chinese people definitely created those. Like for real, Chinese people definitely created those. Cause it's like they only from China or Asia shit. You don't find pandas nowhere else. Like you will find like an elephant. You got an Asian elephant, African elephant. You probably got like a Hindu, India elephant. You know what I'm saying? You got different variations of different things. Same with, tigers, lions, and bears and shit. But there's no different variations of a panda. It's just that's just what you got. But yeah, man, they covering up a lot of stuff in history though.
Big that's why I about to say TikTok blew up because in the beginning, people forget in the beginning we was almost like in competition with each other just to see who could drop the most jaw dropping information. So like I see you go live and you drop some shit and I'll be like, okay, he think I'm playing. And then I drop my shit and then I check back on live after my live of David live, he dropping his shit. I'm like, okay, that's the energy we had in the beginning. Now niggas ain't even dropping no information. They just on panels arguing all day. I'm like, well, how do we get here?
Infiltration. infiltration. Somebody in the Indian community is a real life agent. And I would say whoever's the most toxic one. Agents of chaos is for real. So whoever the most toxic motherfucker. Cause you right. Cause it was a point in time, and it wasn't even that long ago. It was like last year and the year before that. Like we was going hard for like 3 years straight doing that. I remember when we all came across the wild man information at the same time. Then we came across from the wild man, you know, we did Dave with the corn. We had the wild man jumping. We had psyops jumping. Man, we had all type of topics jumping just back to back. Not knowing that we was just finding puzzle pieces, putting it together at the end. Now all those puzzle pieces is, you know, some people starting to unwind them puzzle pieces that we just found. But shit, it's all good though. What's that in Big Rico? Peace.
Yeah, that's what they don't want a nigga to be on. They want us to be on these panels arguing back and forth with natives and Pan Africans, wasting time. Because this is the time I'm talking about. Is before like we was really going in on these natives and Pan Africans. At that time, they didn't even exist on here.
Nope. What you talking about now? Man, it was
It
a
was just,
story.
it was just about the information, and then I'm like, I used to always think like I wonder what such and such gonna have, you know what I'm saying, on their live tomorrow. What they gonna be talking about? Is they gonna continue talking about what they were talking about last night? And then you would like that whatever person information you would come across, it will make you dive into that information, and you would find a gem that they ain't even came across yet on their own information.
And then like I'm sitting here like just thinking too. Like last night I was just thinking, cause TikTok be sending like your analytics review and shit, and that motherfucker showed. I was like, damn. Like we be having millions of people literally watch us, dog. It might not show inside the live count, and it might not show like, you know what I'm saying, for real. But like, but
I
TikTok has
know.
sent, but like TikTok has sent me a review of like how many people view view my page and shit, and that shit said 3.4 million people. I was like 3.4 million people came through and just probably watched the video or probably just seen what the page was about and shit like that. And I'm sitting here like, damn, man, we waking up so many people. And that's just my end. There's no telling about your end and everybody else end, how many other folks didn't view the woo woo. So I was like, man, it makes so much sense why they had to stop us and slow us down over here. Cause I'm talking about every day you catch a film.
And I was thinking about it in the beginning, bro. They was letting us go crazy in the beginning, bro. I was having views of videos with 50 and 60,000 views and stuff. In the beginning, they was letting us go.
Mm-hmm.
My shit
Yep.
was going crazy in the beginning. That's what made me stay on TikTok because I'm like, damn, I'm getting all these crazy numbers on the same shit I was saying on Facebook and Instagram was only getting 2 views.
Man, look, now these motherfuckers been came Facebook.
Hey, and ironically, low key, Facebook more cracking now. It's back cracking. Like, especially like we got all these little groups and stuff. Shit, I'm in this one group. The fucking it's called the Battlegrounds. Boy, it be going up. That shit, everybody from TikTok is in there. I'm talking about on the natives in there, the goddamn Pan Africans in there. I'm like, wait a minute, Moors is in there, and I'm like, all of a sudden now Facebook is popping with these little groups.
Mm-hmm. And YouTube starting to trying to jump again. Like I got videos starting to go viral on that motherfucker. I was like, damn, what's going on here? Now
Mm-hmm.
shadow banned me on one account, but the other platform starts to jump. And it was the opposite when I started TikTok, because I came over here because the other platforms were shadow banned. Now,
Exactly. They wouldn't let you speak your truth. That's what made me get TikTok. Same thing. Facebook put me in jail for 90 days. Facebook jail.
and I'm still in Facebook jail. Still to this day, they said TikTok literally said, I got the screenshot. Them boys said that your post will be pushed to the bottom of the algorithm until 2050. And I was like, damn, 2050. Shit.
Shit, niggas probably ain't even gonna have cell phones in 2050. That
Cause
shit
I
might
used to
be
go.
a microchip inside your brain by then.
I used to
2050,
go viral on
sheesh.
Facebook. Cause I used to go viral on Facebook. Like I used to do lives on Facebook. That's why I used to do all my lives. And then they start cracking down on their little guidelines and shit. They threw me in Facebook until like 2040, 2050.
Hell yeah, that's what I was doing the same thing, doing lives on Facebook, and then I started linking with like certain people and stuff that was on like minded shit that I was talking about. And I had met this girl. She used to do her lives on Facebook, and we would co-host and do lives together on Facebook. And goddamn, I left Facebook after that 90 days. She still was on there. I seen her recently. I'm like, girl, your ass been to miss the whole party. You should have came to TikTok like I told you. You would have been a lot bigger than you is now. But some people who didn't want to leave. They was thinking like TikTok was for kids or something. That was the narrative. That's a child's app. Ain't nothing a child's app.
Man, look, all these apps started off the same way. First, you got to get the kids hooked because the kids gonna bring the adult, and that's how it
Mm-hmm.
started off.
Cause I remember when TikTok first came out, my daughter used to be on here, and she used to be doing like setting her phone. We'd be in Walmart. She put her phone on the shelf and be dancing and shit. And I used to be like, "What the hell is you doing?" "Oh, I'm making a TikTok." I used to be like, "What the hell is a TikTok?" "Oh, that's this new app." And I used to be like, I was thinking it was for kids, but then I started seeing people I knew making TikTok videos. I'm like, hold on, is niggas my age getting this shit?
You know what's crazy? I don't even remember how I even came across TikTok. I don't even know. I really don't even know how I even
I
came
remember how
across
I came across it. I seen the nigga video, and I was like, it was his video mirrored one of my Facebook videos, and I was like, oh, this nigga cooking. I need to meet up with him, and then at the end of the TikTok video, got their name.
it.
I went on TikTok and looked his name up.
I want to say that I seen a video. I want to say that I seen a TikTok video on Instagram, but I really don't even know how I even knew about TikTok to even download it before. But I do know that when I did download it, I was just on here in the audience. I was just chilling for real. I ain't even think about dropping gems or nothing. I was just scrolling and laughing. Well, I wouldn't really say laughing because like, I guess TikTok was just trying out their conscience algorithm. Because as soon as I signed on, I started seeing like enlightened shit. You know what I'm saying? I started seeing people talk about spirituality, herbs. Of course, I seen the funny videos or whatever. And I was like, okay, shit, this shit pretty cool. You know, this shit a little bit better than Facebook. So I was kicking it for a minute. And then probably, and that was for like a whole year. And then shit, somebody told me, they was like, you need to do videos. You be dropping gems too. And I was like, shit, all right. And then I dropped my first little video. I was talking about some Moors and stuff though. My first video was like Moors and Hebrew Israelite stuff at first. And then we just start gradually growing into other topics. And I start figuring out like, damn, shit, everybody here on Facebook, like, I mean, everybody here on TikTok, okay? Everybody live.
Yeah, I think the first people I came across was Suitin and them, and at this time, like I was like basically on some. I'm accepting anybody with melanated skin. Like I ain't give a damn who you was. And you know what I'm saying? As long as you look like me, I was fucking with you. And then what? Like when I started being in there, it was like some type of hierarchy. They didn't like they women to talk to me and stuff like that. I'm like, y'all niggas acting weird. This is a you know what I'm saying, social media app. Everybody on the panel, I should be able to talk to anybody that's on the panel.
Yeah. Yeah, I came in on the Moor side of things. Cause I was on Facebook on my Moor shit a little bit. I wasn't on no Noble Drew Ali shit. I was on kind of the same shit I was on now. But I came on here like that. And then my first niche was I started getting folks like the Real Kush Day. Then I came across Darvid. uh, then Soul Bacon, and then it was a young dude who used to be on here too. He ain't on here no more. Um, but I came across them at first, and then D's Truth came when I started doing lives. That's when D started coming around.
Shit,
Um,
I used to see these truth videos. Like
yeah,
I would see this nigga videos. I'm talking about like on Facebook. This before I was even on TikTok. I would see this nigga videos and I'd be like, oh nigga, that nigga dropping gems. And the people that's new to TikTok, y'all don't know these truth. Like I'm talking about when he had them locks, boy, that nigga was cooking.
yup.
They
And then
don't know the D's truth. We know from the beginning.
hmm and Mont too. I forgot Mont too.
Oh yeah.
But Mont,
Then Monty had locks too.
yeah, he
And
had
Monty
locks.
had locks too.
Yep, he had locks then too. So yeah, I came across Mont too. Mont D, Kush
Yeah,
Day,
my sister
Soul
did have
Bacon.
locks.
Yep.
You had to be around
Hell yeah.
to remember
Like
that.
how niggas like Gaddy, but y'all would have loved D's Truth. D's Truth is Gaddy times 10 without the bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? D's Truth will get on there faded and say some crazy shit and you go research that shit and that shit be real. You be like, oh shit.
He used to
But
be.
yeah, that was that first wave. He was in that first wave of TikTok.
Yeah, he used to be on the panels when panels first got started, and it was only 4 people that could be on there.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that
I
shit.
miss them days, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Man, that
The
shit was
four panel
lit back
days.
then. That
That
shit.
shit was it was way better because you had to wait on your turn to get on the panel. You had to sit in the chat, you might sit there for about 2-3 hours waiting to get up there. And when you got up there, you couldn't say no bullshit. You had to drop your gems.
Yep. In those
Now
days,
niggas get on your panel and say some bullshit and you know what I'm saying, try to get your panel took.
in
That's what
those
these
days,
niggas doing now.
in those days was so much simpler because wasn't nobody mass reporting us, wasn't
None
nobody
of that shit.
arguing. Motherfuckers just reading and dropping gems and supporting everybody who went live. We started
And
doing.
it was so crazy. All them people that hate us now, they was in the chat watching.
Yeah, a lot of them
That's
was
why
in.
they hate us. The O5s and the Joyas and the Choctaws, all these people was in the chat.
A
But I
lot of
remember them niggas in the chat.
a lot of them will never admit it now, but boy, I still got them old lives and shit like that on YouTube. Supposed to pull it up and see. A lot of people who don't like us and like your boy, them folks was right there front and center when we first started doing
hmm
lives, supporting.
and look, the most diabolical shit is people that been supporting me for years, bro. And I just now found out they didn't like me like within the last year. Like, bro, you been following me for 3 and 4 years, nigga, and now you want to pump your chest up like you don't like a nigga? Why you been following me for so long? I
Mhm.
don't follow people I don't like.
A lot of folks on this app just do shit for competition. Like it's a lot of people who's in competition with me, and I ain't even know I was in competition. I was like, bro, I ain't competing with none of y'all. I'm teaching folks. Y'all priorities wrong. All I care about is teaching people. I ain't in no rush of who
It's
drops
bro,
something.
the they think they finna get rich off that shit and go viral. Nigga, ain't not one of us to win viral off this shit. Like where we get on the news with this shit. Like
I
you know what
ain't
I'm saying?
I ain't never hit 1 million views on this bitch.
You ain't about to because they got a motherfucking net over the top of your ass.
Man, the last time a video went triple digits is shit, probably like a year and a half ago. Is when my
Yeah,
shit was.
they cut our numbers. I would have like every other month, at least every other month, I would have a video that would hit 50, 60, 70,000 views just randomly. 100,000 views just randomly. And I ain't had a good one in like years, like probably like 2 or 3 years.
Man, I dropped the video on this page right now, today. No, I dropped it last night. No, I dropped it today on this page. It's a duet. In 4 hours, I got 7 views.
God damn. Yeah, your shit definitely shadow bad. Damn.
Bro,
Yeah,
4 hours, I got
damn.
7 views, bro. And I was like,
And
damn.
look, 6 of the views was probably you checking to see how many views you got.
Oh shit.
6 of them, yeah, 6 of them views was all you,
I was like, damn. And on this backup page, I got like 13K and only 7 people out of 30.
bruh. This is some diabolical shit. Imagine, all right, I dropped my video yesterday, last night about the you know what I'm saying, the shit that's going on in LA. Why supposed to be a melanated person, supposed to be a whole American Indian, commenting on my video saying this shit? Watch, I'm gonna show you.
Oh, side note, promotion. If y'all want to grab a copy of my book, the link is in the bio. We got ebooks out right now. Go ahead and grab your copy. And Eclipses of America is dope. Pure history. Reclaiming your consciousness. PSYOP. Everything that you need in there too. So make sure y'all tap that link. Grab your copy. What's that,
Man,
Sword?
you see this shit? This truth telling Taino. This would be talking about agents. This is the second time her ass commented on my video saying some crazy shit about us being Africans and black. She said black men don't have the kind of courage, though. I give them that. Black men will let us go back and change if this was us, referring to us in the place of the people that's getting deported in LA.
Mm.
So
Mm-mm.
I said we not black, shawty. She said, "You right. You are African. You all African."
Damn. Was she your friend on TikTok though?
Make this make sense. This what we talking about. We be thinking people be rocking with us, and the whole time they been waiting to say some slick shit.
Mm-hmm.
But this girl been following me for years. Now all of a sudden, now 2025, you saying slick shit?
Mm-hmm. It's like that, man. Welcome to the club. I'm
All, all because I made a video saying we don't need to be a part of this shit. This ain't our fight.
we don't. It's a psyop anyway, so we definitely don't need to be in it.
Exactly. We gonna be the main niggas get locked up behind the goofy shit.
Mm-hmm. Cause most of those motherfuckers in mask is agents anyway. A lot of them probably ain't even real Mexicans. A lot of them probably like agents and shit wearing the mask. That's why they wearing masks. Cause always remember, in a protest, a way to spot the agent is they're always wearing masks. Really, because most motherfuckers that you've been seeing in a protest, maskless, face shown, they wildin'. But you always have this one random or 2, 3 random people with a mask on that's just doing some extra shit that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, to amp it up for the media. So this is a whole psyop to try and drag black folks into it. I see it. They trying to drag us into it. Yeah, crisis actors.
And all these Mexicans on TikTok making these videos talking about black and brown and playing Nipsey Hussle and talking about, man, nah, ain't no black and brown. I've been in Los Angeles County for the past 20 years, bro. Ain't no black and brown community.
Man, it's agents too. Just last week, y'all, most of y'all was black fatigue with everybody else. Just last week, the black fatigue. I am black fatigue. That's all I've been seeing on my damn comments that I've been erasing.
They
Other shit,
commented on my video. I ain't know what that shit meant. They commented that shit on my video the other day. I'm
new
like,
shit.
what the hell does that mean?
I told
Now
them,
I know. That's like basically saying we tired of hearing y'all bullshit.
yeah. I ain't know what it was. I told the nigga he need to go to sleep. I'm black fatigue, bro. You need to go to sleep. That don't sound good. The fuck, you about to black out or
Take
something?
your ass to sleep. You know what I'm saying? You tired, nigga. Grab a pillow and a blanket.
What you on TikTok for if you tired, nigga? That's what I was thinking until I figured out what it was. I was like, okay. Y'all probably stole that from other melanated people anyways, because we know that y'all don't make nothing.
Yeah, because it probably was YT fatigue. It probably was some shit we had going
It
at
was.
first. And I'm pretty sure it was YT
It
fatigue.
was. It was. Bro, I promise you it was. And it started on Facebook because I went down the rabbit hole. It started on Facebook of white fatigue. And then Instagram started with, took it. And then by the time it came to TikTok, it became black fatigue all of a sudden. You know how they always do it. When we came out and we said whitewashing history, now all of a sudden we're blackwashing. Like, come on, bro.
Just like the term Wabo.
Yeah.
Just like pretendian. We was calling them pretendians first.
Hmm. In reality, too, though, most people in history were just talking about YT people pretending to be Indians. So I still be trying to figure out why natives even poke their nose and shit. Y'all should be happy that we exposing the YT people. Until you actually learn their history, though. You know what I'm saying? You be like, oh, okay, never mind. I know why you protect.
Look, they because if you expose the white T ones, you expose them too because they accepted it. That means y'all was buddy buddy with them niggas. Y'all was y'all did deals.
Yep.
They can't let that get out.
Nah, they helped them do all this. Cause I started thinking too, like with all these dams and shit that they built to flood our towns. I used to start. I was thinking too. I was like, where the fuck the natives at? Because the natives was in this area too. Like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? They tried to say that the natives was with us in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? Where they at inside the picture of the BOMB? And where's their story? I ain't never seen a native with a Tulsa story. So where y'all was at when this was happening?
In the circus. They was in the circus. They was in the circus traveling the world. They was touring. They was on tour. So that's why they wasn't there. Just like you know what I'm saying. Just like it ain't no slave ships that we can see in modern times. They just want you to believe paintings.
And then something too that they play on people's emotions, because when they tried to say that came from the ship Catilda, a person should have asked, how did a ship end up in a river? Like, you have to think about that. Like, ships in ocean, what route did it take to end up in Mississippi River? And we talking about a big ass Titanic ship now of wood.
Yeah, how the hell did like so they what they saying is they was taking slaves up and down the Mississippi River. Now we said that we agreed to that. They were shipping people up and down the Mississippi River, but when we said that, they told us that we lying.
Nah, I'm saying that because a big ass ship won't fit in a river.
No, I'm talking about these was little boats, like the little ferry type looking boats.
Oh, yeah, the ferries. Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
And you weren't fitting 100 people on no ferry back then. You barely fitting it today. Like, there's plenty of videos of ferries
No,
sinking.
we talking about 20 people max.
Yeah, 20.
And
Maybe
that, look,
25.
look, and that's I'm talking about with the crew and the captain included.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting here like, they got, and it's the word ship. Because if they would say steamboat, then a person can think, okay, a ferry. Think, okay, a ferry. But they keep using the word ship. And people's thinking these big ass boats, ships and shit. But nah, bro, these folks, for one, man, look. What is that? Hold on, I don't like that. Am I not supposed to be at this park at this time of night? Okay, hold on. I just had to make sure. Cause I ain't got time. Somebody had a flashlight. Oh, okay, I'm good. Yeah, hold up for a second. Yeah, man, that whole slave narrative.
Woke up to this shit this morning. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this is the second time old girl commented on my video some crazy shit about me being black. Like, why you trying to put this black label on me so bad?
Yeah, niggas is waking up and they've been
Look, I called her ass on C3 Live. This was about a week ago. And I confronted her about this. I said, why you comment on my video? She was denying it at first. So I put it up on the big screen. I said, C3, let me get the big screen. C3 put me on the big screen, and then girl went to stuttering. I said what I said. I'm like, well, why you over here flaking and fronting like you big American Indian, but on my video you said Indians come from India. Then I made her admit it on C3 Live that she don't rock with Indians.
Mm-hmm.
But how you Taino? Tainos is Indians.
Some of the niggas got that Native American mindset. That shit went global. Like for real. And then, just agents. They agents from the start. When we knowing folks for real outside this app like that, like a lot of these folks be agents on the low ski. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of agents who be watching the
Definitely
live.
behavior. That shit just low key. Like some of this shit be disingenuous, like that these people do, and that shit low key like make you feel like, damn, my people like willing to go against the grain this much. But then you gotta realize that everybody ain't your people, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what's so the water's so muddy in America. We don't know who's who no more. I seen the dude made a video saying life was simpler when it was just melanated people and white tea people here.
It probably was.
It was.
But
I believe it was too because, bruh, we know who the hell they is. They know who we is.
yeah,
Now you got people that look like us. That's Africans and British motherfuckers and French motherfuckers who can blend right on in with us.
and you got the same thing on their end. You got these racist new YT immigrants that's coming from places like Ukraine and Russian who is diehard racist. You know what I'm saying? Now they blending in and taking the place. That's why I was like, because in history there's hella stories about like so-called Indians and YT people actually been cool. Like I'm not talking about Native Americans, but I'm talking about like us. Like we've been cool. We fought alongside each other inside a lot of these stories and shit when because folks was trying to like enslave all of us and shit. Like there's a lot of stories of that. But it's
Yeah, like
like,
rebellion and the Jones rebellion. There's a few rebellions that you know what I'm saying. Some of these white tea people. That's another thing that people don't know. It was a group of white tea people that's been here before the natives got here.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's facts.
That's facts. And that's what's so diabolical.
You
The
know,
natives really new. Them niggas brand new. They just got here.
right. So with this illusion of a matrix though, they gotta keep the mindset on black and white. So they gotta have the black people hating YT people because they think YT people own them as slaves. And you gotta have YT people thinking that they own black people as slaves, but at the same time tell you that their family never owned slaves. They fought in slavery, which is a contradiction to the whole narrative. And that's an immigrant that you're talking to because you don't even know the damn slave narrative, right? So there's a lot of giveaways for white immigrants. Um, yeah, man, like the colonial white Americans they ain't really around like that no more. You surrounded by new YT Americans. But shit, y'all, I'm about to go ahead and wrap it up and end it real quick. I gotta be up tomorrow morning. Gotta go clock in at the plantation on the morning shift. So I'm gonna
Oh
go ahead
yeah, I
and
gotta be up at the same time. I
yeah.
gotta be up before that, but I gotta be at work at 9. Same
I,
time.
I gotta be there at 9:30.
Gotta go
Yeah.
pick that cotton. That's why I told people, well, you wasn't a slave then, nigga. Yo, ass a slave now.
God, look, I'm on that morning shift tomorrow and used to do night shift, but somebody called out, so I got to cover the morning. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. I get
All
off
right.
at 5, so y'all can see me on live about like 7, 8. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
When I get off, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I'll be able to tune in.
facts. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate you for coming up, Swarthy. Y'all already know what it is. Thank y'all for the likes, the love, the gifts. For those who probably missed the live, I downloaded and put it on the YouTube for y'all. What's happening, Swarthy Terry? So again, thanks for the likes, the love, the gifts. Appreciate the support. Shout out to those who grabbed them a copy of the book during the live. Appreciate the support. If you haven't grabbed your copy, hit that link in the bio. Get you a copy now. And Eclipses in America's out, and it's fire. Peace. Y'all be easy. I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow.